Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. Happy New Year! I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Connor's here too.
Yeah, I suppose.
I feel like if Connor wants a more flamboyant introduction, he should probably give me a more flamboyant reaction, and maybe I'll consider it. But
I feel like I give you what you get, what I deserve from that intro.
Bullshit. Next week, if I give you a rambunctious introduction, I guarantee you'll stiff me, and you'll just sit there and go, I'm here. Yeah.
It depends how insulting it is. You can be rambunctious and insulting at the same time.
Thank you. So we talk about DC Comics on this show, and coming up on this week's show, we have Heroes in Crisis number 4, Detective Comics 995, Action Comics 1006, Wonder Woman 61, The Flash 61, Batgirl 30, Justice League Odyssey number 4, The Terrifics number 11, Titans number 32, and The Silencer number 12. That's what's coming up on this week's show. A little bit of news as well, a little bit of this and that, but that's the gist of it. So be excited, and also Happy New Year! It's 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my first attempt at writing the date without screwing it up.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, first time. Don't know how that happened.
It's gonna take me like a month.
Yeah, usually does. It just somehow it just worked.
Yeah. No,
I got the date. I put the 3rd instead of the 4th, but I got the 19 right. It's the important bit.
Yeah, nah, it's been a heavy comic week. After last week having no books, and then this week having 10 DC, and because me and Connor started the other podcast with the Marvel and Indie books, I've got another 9 to get to, not including catch-up issues before Tuesday.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I've not started those.
You fools.
Yeah, we did this to ourselves.
We did it on a week where there was no other DC books, and we thought, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Yeah, we could do this every week. It's great. And then this week it's like, oh shit, there's DC books again.
This is why we didn't do it before now.
Not to worry, we're locked in now. You can expect your other podcast. It's called Elsewhere in the Multiverse if you haven't heard of it, or you missed the announcement. Episode 1 is up on your podcast services, your iTunes and your YouTubes and all those things. Go have a look-see. But, so... Wait, what was that, Connor?
We went about 3 hours on that last one.
We did, yeah. The first one was a bit longer because we were doing all the catch-up stuff. So we had kind of like arcs to talk about instead of just single issues. I imagine it'll be more of a 2-hour show going forward.
And usually we won't have the million issue ones from Marvel to talk about.
Well, we got a decent amount of those this month because Marvel are putting out like 6 of them, the bastards.
No, I meant in the solicits.
Oh, in the solicits. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we did the 3 months of, okay, here are the new books.
That's right, yes.
Holy crap, they have a lot of number 1s.
Honestly, outside of the actual length of the show, that inflated how long it took because we spent an hour doing that. Like, instead of starting the show when we thought we were going to start, we said, hey, we should probably look up all the issue 1s coming up in the next couple of months and see what we're going to be trying. And then that took an hour to sit and
it was a mistake,
organize.
but once we'd started and realised we were too far in.
Yes. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Thumbs up.
I'm glad you said that. I was going to criticise you there for alienating our audio listeners by only giving me a thumbs up. So
I've learned.
I've learned. We've all learned. This is episode 136. We've all grown and improved.
Except for Connor, because he's Connor.
Yes. I have to imagine episode 1 sucks by this standards now.
Oh, this standards of us just sitting here insulting each other for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's a magic 5.
There's a level of comfort to this insulting.
Yeah.
I'm sure you go back to episode 1, I bet we're all nervous and like, oh yeah, welcome to DC Comics Podcast. We talk about comics. Please like us. Thank you. But yeah, so we got comic books to talk about. Anything else to remind you of before we get going? I'm trying to think of anything else. I feel there should be more updates about things, but I can't think of what they are. So I think if something springs to mind, I'll jump in. But yeah, so a little bit of news before we get into the books itself. First up, Connor, rearrange your schedule because you won't be missing the last week of this month. You'll be missing the first week of next month because Doomsday Clock issue 9 has been quietly pushed back 1 week. So
no.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of expecting this because the last issue got pushed a week to the first week of December because it was maybe the last week of November. So it kind of makes sense that that's had a bit of a knock-on effect, and now issue 9 is going to be the same. So On the upside, week ones are much quieter and could use the other book, and Doomsday Clock tends to be a hefty discussion, so positives.
It does. Yeah.
Yep.
Positives. And Connor's sitting there thinking, is there a reason why I'm busy that week? He's
I
terrified.
am genuinely thinking, like, okay, what could be happening that week?
First week of February.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There is a thing with work, and I don't know what day it's on, and I'm a little concerned now.
Keep the streak going. Keep the streak going.
What streak? I missed 2 at the very start. I've been here for all the rest. I've done way more than half of the issues.
Yeah, but if you-
it's more fun to say the streak's a thing. If you keep telling people, I've
Yeah.
learned this from politics. If you keep telling people something that's wrong, they don't care eventually. They just give in.
Here's an accurate fact, though. If you do miss this one, that'll be a third of the issues.
Yes, it will.
A whole third.
I won't miss it. I won't.
We're going to start with that. I'm just going to parachute into the frame, like from the window. Just come diving in.
Yeah, that'll work. I'm not missing it.
All right, so yeah, Doomsday Clock's coming week 1 of February now. Not a huge delay, but it is what it is. We got new Ink and Zoom books announced this week. They're listed with all the books that were already there, but I think I've got the ones that are new here. So people can feel free to correct me if I'm missing any. But so we have Dick Grayson. This is the Ink line, by the way. This first batch. We have We have Dick Grayson, Lost Carnival, which is going to be written by Michael Mairghread. We have Gotham High, written by Melissa De La Cruz, with art by Thomas Pelletier. We have Oracle Rising, written by Miriki Nijkamp. If I'm probably butchering that name. Oracle book though, that's cool.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
no artist on that one.
Nah, the only one of them has an artist right now.
No.
Which makes sense to a point, because they did announce all the first wave is mostly not out yet. Like these are, because these are for bookshops rather than comic solicits. They're all being announced like really far.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Does Mairghread not do art as well? Am I misremembering Mairghread?
You may be right. It just says written by though.
Okay, fair enough.
And then the fourth one is Shadow of the Batgirl, which was confirmed to be Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, written by
That's
Sarah
exciting.
Kuhn. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool to get a Cassandra Cain Batgirl book.
Yeah. I know they did do some updates on the last wave as well in terms of artists, like Superman vs. the Clan has an artist now.
Yeah, before I get to that though, there's one Zoom book as well, which I believe the new one is Diana, Princess of the Amazons, by Shannon and Dean Hale. I think that's the new one.
Okay.
So there's a lot of these books now. There's like a good. I mean, the Ink has what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The Ink has 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and Zoom has 10 overall. So
Which way around are they in terms of the age ranges? I don't recall which one.
Ink is the older
Ink
one.
is the old. Yeah.
Yeah, because the only reason I remember that is because Superman smashes the Clan, and I remember that being the young one, and that's in the young list. So
It's kind of funny.
there you go. Yeah, the art in that is by something I can't pronounce.
Not even gonna try.
Guri Hiru Studios was doing the art, so it's not just a split person; it's a studio.
Okay.
So take that for what you will. But yeah, so there you go. That's Ink and Zoom. And then final bit, news that I think was worth mentioning. It's kind of news. So Bendis does this thing at the start of the year where he likes to post some cryptic images on Instagram, teasing things for the rest of the year. And so he posted 10 images. I've got a handy newsarama link here of like just kind of a summarising what each one of them are, in case you don't recognise them in the images themselves. Also, when did Instagram add a thing where you could do like multiple images in one post, where you could like slide through them? That was new to me.
No idea. I stay off of Instagram.
I got really
I've never
confused
used it.
because he kept saying he posted 10 images, and I was like, "There's only one here. What are you talking about?" And then eventually, like, I hovered over the image, and there was a little arrow to go next, and I was like,
God,
"Oh,
how old are you?
this is a relatively new thing for Instagram."
No excuse.
Shut up. Shut up. Anyway, so here's the 10 things that he posted, right? So, how much of a tease these are? You know, are these things appearing in the books that he's got? Are these things for new projects? Whatever, like, who knows? But anyway, number 1 was an image of Batman Beyond, drawn by Michael Avon Oeming, who's a collaborator with Bendis.
Good powers.
Yeah. Number 2 was an image of Wonder Woman, artist undetermined, which would imply that it's probably a new piece of art. Number 3 was a close-up from a page of Kamandi, The Last Boy on Earth, issue 29. But I highly doubt he's doing a Kamandi book, so I'd expect it.
No, but Kamandi's huge with continuity.
Yeah.
So if he's doing something that involves continuity, Kamandi plays a part in that.
Number 4, a close-up on the cover of Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane 114, in which Lois competes with a villain named Thorn for Superman's affection. I feel like that one's probably just a tease for maybe a plot that's coming up in action. Like maybe some villain S will try and steal Superman, and Lois has to save him or something like that. Number 5, if it sounds like I'm breaking up, folks, it's because I'm just noticing cameos happening behind Matt, and I'm trying to pay attention to myself.
Alright.
Number 5, Alex Maleev drawing Batman from 2013 during Snyder's run, and obviously Maleev's a long time buddy of Maleev, of Bendis rather. Number 6, close up on an undetermined page featuring OMAC, which looks like it's been drawn by John Byrne.
Which also plays into Kamandi. So
yeah. Number 7's an interesting one that Connor's going to love. A close up of the logo of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yep.
It's fine. It's not JSA.
We'll get there.
I can sacrifice the Legion.
I can sacrifice the Legion.
Look,
okay, DDO. Jeez.
I'm already sacrificing Young Justice. I can lose the Legion as long as it's not JSA.
The way Matt said that, okay, Didio, it sounded like someone saying okay, Daddio, but just
okay, Didio.
Altered slightly. So it sounded very old school. But yeah, so yeah, Legion logo. Does that? I mean, I feel like if he was doing the Legion book, this would be a really like obvious thing, which makes me think it's more of a it'll be a Legion.
They're just
going to
show up and say hi to Soups.
Yeah, most likely.
Well, when he put up that stack of to read material before he came to DC, there was a lot of Legion in there. So it makes me wondering if he's playing with Clark's background again with the Legion.
Yeah.
And the different, you have different. Last we checked, there was 3 different timelines for the Legion. So I'm wondering if he's going to play with that, with Kamandi and OMAC and all of that stuff. Plus, Young Justice, this could play into that. She'd have Amethyst in different worlds. So,
yeah, Young Justice coming next week, folks. Be excited.
I will not.
Just be excited, Connor. It's fine.
All right, what else?
Next week.
Come on.
Number 8, close-up of Wildfire's faceplate, possibly with Polar Boy's reflection.
Legion stuff.
Yeah. Number 9, possible new original art from Ivan Reis. At least they said it didn't turn up any results in Google image search, so yeah. So yeah, possibly new. Which, judging by a prominently featured pen, may be connected to JSA hero Johnny Thunder.
Damn it. As soon as you said pen, I was like, this better not be what I'm thinking.
Jakeem Thunder, who kept their mythical wish-granting Thunderbolt in a pen.
And that plays into Doomsday Clock too, so he might be waiting that out because old Johnny Thunder plays a significant role right now.
How great is it going to be, Matt, if JSA number 1 comes out and it is by Bendis and Connor doesn't even read it?
I know. I'll laugh because that just shows what happens when you're stubborn.
It's not stubborn, it's called having taste.
And being stubborn.
Finally, we had number 10, which is a close-up of an ink page apparently featuring John Kent. So, John Kent plans. So yeah, very cryptic. Could mean a number of things, but worth mentioning, I thought. Some teases in there. But yeah, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much the newsy things, as far as I could see.
Yeah.
And since everyone's not rushing to say, no, Peter...
I'm just composing myself.
My cat tried to bite my hand, so I'm trying not to scream. She likes to play bite, but she plays a little too hard.
Can't be something that painful, Matt. Come on now.
Oh, she plays for keeps, Pete.
Okay. All right. Garrus
why
is
you
the
shouldn't have cats.
Garrus is the one who bites the hardest, I think, out of my three. The other two don't really bite that much.
Yeah. So
Garrus goes further.
As I was watching wrestling last night, she spent like a half hour grooming my hair, and every time I tried to tell her to stop, she would just come back. So it's the worst.
My cats don't groom my hair, although sometimes if my hand's next to them while they're grooming, they'll start grooming my hand. And I'll just be like, yeah, whatever, cats. Let myself out.
Well, you might have more hair on your hands than you do on your head.
I knew that was coming.
I couldn't. Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Low-hanging fruit. That was the exact phrase I was going to use.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hair at the back. Shut up. All right.
If you say so.
Do you want me to turn around and prove it?
No.
God, no.
Well then, shut up. Shut up. We got comics to talk about. We got serious business. Comics are serious business, damn it. I will not have you turn this show into a mockery.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent this with 5 minutes insulting each other.
Mostly insulting you, Connor.
Yeah, mostly insulting you.
Well, we just insulted Pete. It's fine.
Right, you're saying Matt needs a round. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Matt just insults himself just by being there. It's
True.
fine.
Alright, okay, we'll talk about books. We'll get into books. That's the thing. Alright, first comic we're going to discuss in 2019 is Heroes in Crisis issue 4, Tom King writing, Clayman on art. Although, as I've written down, Tom King and Clayman and Clayman. I don't know why I put two Claymans.
You're really caught up with the new age of heroes where they just get credit as storytellers.
Obviously spoilers for each book as we talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Heroes in Crisis number 4 is an interesting book for a number of reasons. Not all of them good, not all of them bad. It's kind of a weird issue in that sense. We should probably deal with the controversy first, which is some of the art. Not that Clayman's art in general is bad, because in general Clayman's art is very good. There is a couple of pages in this one though that are oddly sleazy as hell, and I'm not exactly sure why all of a sudden there's these really two bad pages.
Do you know what? It's really worse coming off of that awful cover a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. It is, yeah, because King's response to that was mostly on point. I mean, it wasn't like a million times better the fixed version, but it was definitely like, okay, we heard the complaints, we fixed it. But there's two pages in this. There's one that just feels like random for no reason, which is Lois standing in her underwear, and I'm like, this doesn't affect the scene at all. Like, you could just go to the next page and start there.
I think what was really weird is she's standing there posing and saying, "What do you want me to do?"
Yes.
And there's an obvious implication, and then it's not anything like that.
Yeah. No. I think the biggest problem for me is that it conflicts with the tone. Like, it'd be one thing if it was a really cheesy book and there was a ton of cheesecake on every direction.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's this really serious tone about the, people
about
being
murder.
murdered. Yeah. And we're supposed to be caring about these characters, and Lois is standing there in their underwear, really all sultry. Because it's not so much that I'm opposed to Lois having sultry. Like, if you want to do pin-ups, do pin-ups. That's what they're there for. Go do pin-ups, whatever. But it just...
But like Connor said, it's the context. It's not like the last time we saw Lois and Clark. It was this playful tone, like it is here.
Right.
When it starts,
I thought it was meant to be like, oh, it's a distraction. They're doing something else, right? And then Clark's going to bring the mood down. But no, it's actually they're already on this topic.
Yeah, right. Which would have probably made the page justifiable if that was the point, is that they'll try to take their minds off of it with sexiness, and it's not working. And then, honestly though, I think that is the lesser of the two evils, because I think the other page that is getting a lot of criticism, and I think quite rightly, is the Batgirl page where she's in her interview, and instead of saying anything, she shows off her bullet wound. Yeah. I have no problem with that concept. If you start that page with her like try to speak and going, you know what, I'll just show you, and she just gets up and shows the bullet wound, that'd be fine.
Because it shows an intimacy, right? Like I got that's what that page was going for, but I had to read it twice because I'm like, what is going on here? Why is she taking off her belt? Yeah. And then because there's no context for it. Again, it's all the context.
And that's the thing here. Not only there's the thing I'm about to complain about, just generally bad anyway. Because I think unlike the Lois page, this one is not justifiable by anything. I can't imagine a version of this where this art's okay, but she stands up, she takes off her belt, and she shows her bullet wound, and then she turns around and shows the exit wound, which is the worst part, of course, is the exit wound part, because it's just here, look at my ass. But the problem is, so Clayman's art is typically very good, but for some reason, his Batgirl here, I mean, her head's fine, her head looks great. Like, when I get to Batgirl issue 30 later, I'm going to be talking about how much worse the head is than that. But
Yeah.
the body, the suit is painted on Layfield style, where it's like just, it's,
Yep.
actually, I saw, I think it was Jen Bartel on Twitter was talking about boob socks, and how some artists draw boobs just kind of like, like completely well defined through whatever they're wearing.
It's what that applies to the rest of the book as well with Batgirl.
Yeah, that does.
Which is more jarring because Harley Quinn's in those scenes in the classic outfit, and it doesn't look anywhere near as bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this choice was with Batgirl specifically. It's kind of weird. But the big problem is, beyond this just looking really tacky and just the wrong way to draw this in general, is that the scene's supposed to be this intimate, like her showing her biggest pain, like her showing her bearing her soul. And instead it feels like she's doing a striptease for the audience, because she's looking right at you. She like slowly takes off her belt, because it's a 9-panel grid and she's sort of doing it in steps. And it felt really sleazy. By the time I got to the end of that page, I'm like, I know what you're going for here, but all I can see is just a blatant ass in my face.
Because again, all they had to do was have like a narration box from whatever she's talking to, and like,
I don't know if she's meant to be talking to anything. I think the idea, as I was going, is maybe it's meant to be a mirror.
Yeah, so I pulled up an article about like clues, and so all of those testimonials are meant, I guess, to be in a mirror.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then that gives us a completely different vibe, because think about the Donna one from, was that in this one?
Yeah, it was this one.
Yeah,
well, they're still talking...
No, Black Canary, where she just gets mad and leaves.
Well, no, it still works. They're still talking to something. They're still talking to the robot
it's the idea
or whatever.
Right.
I think the mirror idea of no, they're saying it to themselves, right? It's supposed to be like a self-acceptance thing.
It's like a journal almost. Like they go
but if it's not as but if that wasn't as clear from the beginning as now, I
don't think it changes anything. That part of it.
I don't.
No,
I don't know. It colors it differently to me.
But I think it's just kind of the same. I mean, but I think the way the suit's drawn on her body makes it feel sleazy from the get-go, and absolutely under no circumstance should she have turned around and showed that exit wound. It was unnecessary, and all it is just here, look at my ass. That is all that panel says to me. Regardless of what the intent was, I don't know why anyone looking at this page thought this wouldn't come off anyway else.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So we have to get that out of the way, because it is just bad. And Clayman's typically a very good artist, but this is the big black mark on this book, this issue.
It's like you guys brought up earlier too. If the cover controversy hadn't come up, then it would be a little bit more forgivable. But like,
I think we'd still be talking about it, but we wouldn't. I think it is heightened by the fact that
because there's precedence.
Now
it feels more like a trend that the book has an ongoing problem, which is funny because I don't remember anything like this in the last 3 issues that made me go.
No, it hasn't been. And I think that's the thing. It's because both these were Clay Mann, right? That cover was a Mann cover. Yeah. So it's like, okay, has he started doing something differently?
Yeah.
Because I don't recall ever having a problem like this with his work before.
I remember praising it. And I think the rest of the art in the book is great. I think the facial expressions are great. I think the art for everyone else is pretty great. It's just this cheesecake element. I mean, the lowest one isn't drawn badly. The lowest one is just like conceptually the wrong thing.
I mean, it's what we're talking about, how with the way that Batgirl's suit kind of hugs her boobs, right? Lois is in a t-shirt and it's very natural looking.
Yeah.
Like it's a very like classy drawing. It's just in context.
Well, also it speaks to the character too, because that's not, Barbara's never been that character, like overtly sexualized, and even with the redesign that happened a couple months back, that costume still isn't like it's here. Yeah. So it's not like this was Starfire, who that's kind of her character, is that overt sexuality, or even Wonder Woman, So just the fact that it was a Batgirl and the way the scene played out.
The Babs one is definitely worse in that this Lois page, if you just remove that from the book and tell me that's a pin-up drawing and put that on a wall as a poster, that's perfectly fine. It's a great drawing for that. Whereas the Babs one is like, well, hang on, why?
Well, yeah. And to play devil's advocate here, if it was meant to make us feel uncomfortable, then I think mission accomplished.
I think it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable in that way. I think you're supposed to be uncomfortable about the wound and that, okay, no, she's still living with that. Not
well, it made me feel uncomfortable where
look at her.
This is a thing that I shouldn't be seeing. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, you know? I think you're supposed to feel uncomfortable in that she's bearing her soul to you, right? That's how you're supposed to feel.
Right.
But that's not how you feel when you read this page. You read this page and you feel uncomfortable because she's doing this and the artist is making it as sexy as humanly possible, which is jarring with the tone of what's going on. Which would be a problem in and of itself, but because I think you have the two main problems here. You have the art itself is just being kind of bad in how it's drawn the suit to over-sexualize it in a really sort of old-school comics way. And then you have the way it's presented in concept where she's kind of staring at you, she takes off her belt, sort of pulls down her thing, and then worst of all, turns around at the end to show off the ass. Those are two separate problems that fit into the same overall thing, but that's the two main facets here, I think, are the big issue. But yeah, so hopefully it's something it feels very tone deaf. I hope they... You know, I think King's one who does take on criticism quite well. That said, he gets a lot of shit as well on Twitter. That's you know, he made a tweet this week saying, "Hey, New Year's resolution, I'm going to start blocking people who, you know, are just mean, basically."
Yeah. To be fair, someone was trying to say, or a group of people, that he was never in the CIA.
Oh, this was stupid.
And it became this whole big thing that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, and he's like, here's a photo of me in the CIA, and here's like a written thing or whatever.
It was like a picture of him in like Iraq or something.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, and here's a letter for Sheriff of Babylon.
Wife.
He had to get approval from the CIA to post, because it was relevant, inspired by events that he went through. So he had to get approval that it was okay to publish this.
And according to Brad Meltzer, who writes a lot of U.S. politically based things, he has to get a lot of permission, right? Because like he's done a story set in the Library of Congress and the archives, so he knows about this process. That unless you were writing about the CIA being in there, that's the only way they would ever check you.
Yeah.
Right. So like they just don't do that randomly. Like if Brad Meltzer's writing a story about the CIA, they're just gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's just fiction.
But because there's a chance that he could reveal something classified that he knew.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, no, but we want to check this first.
My favorite response was from King's wife, as he tweeted through him about if they ever want to know what it was like being a wife while he was over there, just go and talk to her, share with him peace of the mind. So it was. And it was cool to see the outpouring of support from other comic creators to him.
No, because this was just abuse that was unnecessary. And King unfortunately, after the wedding thing and now seemingly some of this stuff, he's never going to go to a con again without a bodyguard, and that's just the sad state of affairs.
It baffles me, you know, given that I understand not liking his writing. Which,
he's writing. If you don't like King, don't like King. But hate it. But
why
don't
read
it then.
Question that he's been in this? Why would you question that specifically? That makes no. He has been on national TV talking about being in the CIA.
Because Connor, now it's not about just not liking something; it's you have to completely discredit the other side.
What was which late night show was he on?
Either Seth Meyers.
It might have been.
Or Seth Meyers or Colbert, one of the two.
And I remember he was on that and was talking about that he was in the CIA. Do you really think that'd fly if he wasn't? Like, what?
Yeah, but they're not thinking too, Connor, because again, like, it's like you with Bendis, right? You just don't read Bendis. You don't read Bendis. But you're not out there going like, oh, he never taught a writing class.
Bendis' history.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I've got screen caps that suggest otherwise.
Well, because Connor, you're mostly a mature individual that knows how to compose themselves on the internet. You know, most of the internet is terrible, and for the longest time I tried not to say that, but there's certain threads I can't go into just because the ignorance.
I feel like
you know,
it's only most of the internet in the sense that there's a certain group of people who all infect all of it. Not so much that I think majority of people are actually fine. That for the most part.
Yeah. People are awful.
But people can be pretty awful. But I feel like there's a certain group of people who infect everything, and it feels like it is just, But anyway, so that's a whole deep dive conversation. But yeah, you don't like King, that's fine. But I think he's typically shown to take on criticism. We've seen that Poison Ivy arc. I remember him responding to criticisms about that from Poison Ivy fans, and it felt very humble. So I feel like he will take this on in some way. I have no idea what Mann's like with taking on criticism, but maybe we'll find out. So we spent a good 15 minutes talking about just that. So let's talk about the actual content of the book. So how did we feel about issue 4 then? Because obviously we've been kind of not up and down. We've been kind of in a place.
Well, it's still a holding pattern. I like the levity in this issue. I feel was welcome, but I still don't know where the story is going.
I thought some of the levity went too far, personally.
Which
I'm talking about, with the dinosaur at the end.
Oh no, I'm fighting you on this.
Yeah,
hiding the dinosaur was the best line of this comic. I am fighting you on this.
Well,
I'll be honest. If this wasn't an event, I probably wouldn't be reading this anymore.
I think that's fair though, because I feel like Pete's been saying this to other friends of ours is this might just read better in trade without the breaks in between.
I think this is a book that if it sticks its landing, I think it'll probably read quite well in trade because it'll all be one thing. Because I am 100% convinced now. I don't think there's any wiggle room here to say that this is not a mystery where there's going to be a reveal, that this is what's really going on by the time we get to the end of this book. And I think it's played as a mystery. I actually think I like this issue the most out of the 4. Regardless of the problems that we've discussed with the sleaziness.
It has probably my favourite scene, although overall it's one of my least favourite issues. It's Blue and Gold.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. The fist bump.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty great.
Yeah. I really like the journalist angle. I like the fact that Lois is like, I need to kind of release something. They're sending me all these tapes. I need to talk about it in some way.
And I like that she does it anyways, and she sends Clark to go tell the other two.
Yeah, I like the Trinity.
Kind of an Ozymandias moment.
Yeah, I like the Trinity scene in the cave. I like the humor there. The fact that Booster's disappeared, so Wonder Woman punches the coin. I like the hide the dinosaur line. I thought that was funny. I also like the scene early on where Batman and Flash are investigating, and they're both like, "Oh, so we both know who did it, right? Yeah, we're agreed. Yeah, Harley. No, Booster. Shit." Yeah.
I read that in Grant Gustin's voice too, so like, just hearing that with his Flash, like, yeah, that was pretty good. But no, I like the Donna Troy opening too with
Garth.
Aqualad. What's his name? Garth Tempest. Like taking him out and dragging him there, and then that really cool shot with the graffiti that makes up the title page.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool with all the Titans. But yeah, there's a lot to like in this for all the stuff that I didn't like. But as far as the story goes, I don't want to say it's messy because I don't feel it's messy because I feel like it's very focused on what King wants us to focus on.
It also feels the most fractured issue, doesn't it? In that we've got, okay, here's the Trinity, here's Batgirl and Harley, here's Donna Troy with the Titan stuff, here's Blue and Gold, here's
I think
Black Canary and Green Arrow.
4 out of 9, though, this is exactly the sort of point in the book where I'd expect it to just be like, okay, we've got a lot of things we need to continue, so they're all going to continue a little bit.
I think the problem is, like Green Arrow and Canary and the Donna Troy stuff and Batgirl and the Harley stuff, it doesn't feel like they're continuing necessarily. They feel like, okay, here are new things that that are for this issue.
I agree with that to an extent. I don't actually mind how fractured it is, though. I think this is just like this is a style of writing that I don't mind as keeping it this kind of separate. Like, we're kind of jumping around in little pockets of what's going on to build the larger story. I'm kind of okay with that. I did actually like the Batgirl Harley kind of side of it, because it kind of ends where Batgirl finds Harley. It's like, hey, Batman's going to find you, but I'm kind of willing to hear you out in this, go and like try and solve this.
See, and that's where where I feel King nails Babs, because that's something she would do, right? She's gonna hear Harley out, and because she is that cerebral type of character, and yeah, so just the stuff with the art, it feels so disconnected from the rest of the book.
Yeah, because the final moment of the book is Batgirl's saying, "Hey, this sanctuary stuff's coming out in the press. The world's going to change," and Harley says, "Oh, screw the world. It needs to change." Right. And that's kind of the point we leave off on. So I'm wondering if thematically that's kind of a major statement as to what the book's doing. But I like the story in this one more, I think, than the previous three. Yeah. I get that the fractured nature of it's not for everyone. Some people hate it. But I kind of dig it. It's making it feel kind of big to me because it is jumping around all these different characters.
Yeah. Well, and just seeing the Trinity interact in the Batcave, like that's a moment. So, yeah. And then also that reveal of like, what do you mean she can't run it? She did 5 minutes ago. But he knows they can trust Lois because Lois isn't going to give away things. Like she's going to do her job as a journalist without, sacrificing their personal lives. So, but that begs the question though, if, they're getting into the personal lives, how much does this wreck that?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm probably the most on board I've been since it started. Again, sleazy pages aside, which kind of weird. I think the Titan stuff at the start did feel the most randomly inserted to me. Whereas at least Green Arrow and Black Canary, I thought, followed on from the investigative parts with Batman and Flash. It's funny because as much as we're complaining about the Batgirl page, I actually thought Black Canary's page was gorgeous in art and felt fitting. For lack of a better word. It was a funny page too because she just kind of says "screw this" and walks out. Like, I'm not doing this.
I think one of the larger problems for me is this is basically halfway through the book, and I don't care about the mystery.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I care about the mystery.
What's going on with Booster?
Fair enough. No. Like I said, this isn't something that I can say, oh, no one's going to care about it. Obviously not. But for me, the book hasn't done a job of convincing me why I should care.
No, man, I care. I care about the mystery. No,
that's fair enough.
And yeah, and I like that Wonder Woman uses the lasso on Booster, and she doesn't even take it as conclusion. She says, "Well, you believe that you didn't do it."
Right.
But I mean, I'm not willing to.
You could be a crazy bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's always why they say that lie detectors are inadmissible in court, because if you believe it, then it's not a lie to you. Therefore, you're not going to spike the same systems. And it's funny that the guy that created Wonder Woman also created the lie detector. Yeah. Right?
So that's one of the best pieces of trivia there is.
Yeah, right?
It's such a good fact to stick here, by the way.
Yeah. And so she has the lasso of truth, right? And so, and just her bringing up the Brainiac shield that is the Legion ring. Like, she doesn't even call it a Legion ring. It's a Brainiac shield that he stole from the future. So there's these little things that I'm picking up on that I'm really enjoying.
It is weird that it's not working. Our other power's not working. Is that why Harley could smack Wally so easily? I don't know.
So the same article that I read was that they were breaking down the clues. There, got it. And that was one of them, is the fact that Booster's shield wasn't working, which means someone had to shut it off. And then it also posits if Harley had killed the Flash, how was she able to swing the mallet with such a force, right? So, which means that whose point of view that was might not have been seeing what they thought they saw. Which, with what we know about like the AI and the hologram stuff, like anything could be possible right now, which I can see is frustrating, because it could literally be anything. But our main two things are Harley saw one thing, Booster saw something. It doesn't seem like Booster's lying. Harley's known to lie, so I feel like it's playing with what we know about the characters.
Yeah, to be fair to Harley, I feel like I kind of trust her though. Like, I feel like I don't. Right. I'm not ready to throw her under the bus. I mean, obviously just because of the fact that I don't think we're going to end the story with, by the way, Harley killed all these heroes. She's going to prison forever. Like,
right. Well, and also
that would be the
forget,
best.
Yeah. say goodbye to Harley Quinn. Don't forget too that this article brought up that Skeets, remember, was listed with the bad guys from the end of Batman 50.
That's true.
In
Right,
that lineup.
yeah, it was.
And so this article suggested that Skeets is somehow manipulating all of this. And he shut off boosters.
So that would give an implication that this is actually part of the larger Batman run?
I don't know.
Which,
they weren't even quite sure.
Because that would change things.
That's the only piece of evidence they have with Skeets, besides that Booster's shield was shut off, and that Skeet shows up out of nowhere to heal him.
I mean, it's worth mentioning, Booster Gold's entire mindset getting into this book was out of Batman.
Right.
It was, yeah.
You know, Tom King broke him for this book in Batman.
The only reason I say that it would surprise me is because this doesn't feel like it's to do with what's going on in Batman.
It doesn't.
And so,
but if the Skeet stuff plays in and Skeets is evil and working for Bane, it's like, well, hang on then. For what purpose is presumably doing that on Bane's behalf?
Right.
For what purpose is that to get at presumably to get at Batman at that point?
And so I still feel that page was symbolic more than it was, was the lack of a better term. Was the opposite of symbolic? Literal?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So if that was just representative of like these are villains in the for Batman, that would make Skeets.
I would have agreed, given that one of the stranger options to be there would have made much more sense for it to be figurative. But then he showed up a couple of issues ago, so I'm now assuming it was literal.
I mean, if it is tied into Batman, whatever he's doing, and this whole thing is like, it depends, because I expect this will get much, much worse then by the end. Like, because if this is all to break Batman, if Batman's in some sort of simulation where his entire world is crumbling because his friendships are breaking down, people are dying, Batgirl's working with the enemy, essentially. Like, if all this is happening to get to him.
This is the first issue where I could plausibly see it was part of the Batman story, in the sense of, all right, turning Batman against Superman.
Right.
Even to even a small level here, but it's
because
I mean that's their personalities. Those are the small battles they do. Batman's the ultimate secret keeper, and Clark, being a journalist, is like, well, no, people deserve to know up to a certain point.
It's not that much of a fight here. It's a finger on a chest and some disapproving remarks. It's not.
I'm not saying they're punches, but I mean, in terms of if you're going to tell me this is a Batman story, a part of that Batman story, and you have to, part of that presumably is turning him away from his allies. I have to assume, based on what happens in this issue.
I don't know if it's to literally turn him away from the allies. I mean, and let's say it's a simulation and he's forcing them through this. I think it's more about breaking them mentally than it is about like having a lasting effect with those allies outside of said simulation once it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
This just feels like it's part of the greater world, So like, I don't feel like this is just a Batman simulation.
Yeah. Does it have to just be like? I mean, Final Crisis is what killed Batman when it was the middle of Morrison's run, but it wasn't like all of Final Crisis felt like this is just the part of the Batman story.
No, that's true. I just mean specifically if this has come from Skeets through Bane.
I just want to know why he would put Skeets there, and then, like, in that, where the only time we had seen him up to that point was in the Gift story. And then for this website, I think it was Newsarama that I read it on, for them to pick up on that and then look at like the circumstantial evidence there of Skeets showing up when he does, and like, tell him, Booster, you need to turn yourself in. Booster's like, nah, I didn't do anything. It's very unlike that relationship there.
Because part of me, I don't necessarily think this is how it's going to end, but part of me wouldn't be surprised if this does end with a reveal that they're all kind of like Inception-like, like all hooked up to something, and they're all asleep the entire time. Which I know for a lot of people, it's like, oh, that's just a shitty twist that people overuse.
I really hope it's not that.
But I don't think it. Other than maybe Roy, because Roy's the one that's been bandied about.
Yeah, we know that we know there's an impact because of Roy.
What's that?
We know there's an impact to the greater outside world because Roy dies.
Oh, sure,
but we
never
really told how Roy dies.
Yeah, but we're pretty sure though that none of the other deaths are going to stick. Like Poison Ivy and Wally are not sticking. I'm calling it.
Still in denial.
So again,
Yeah, I'm not in denial about Poison Ivy. I don't give a shit about Poison Ivy. You can kill Poison Ivy all you want. Poison Ivy's a B-tier bat villain, right?
You're a B-tier bat villain.
You just upset so many people on the internet.
Wally's way more important than Poison Ivy.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that, but still, like.
Yes, don't even stop.
Yeah, I'm not, but to call her a B-tier bat villain, I say the nay, sir.
You're quite right, Matt. C-tier.
No. Oh man, says the guy that loves the Joker. Ugh.
Are we arguing that Joker's not A-tier? Is that what we're arguing
I'm just
right
saying
now?
that he's overexposed, and like Snyder's kind of ruined him. But hey,
Hang on, you're blaming Snyder for overexposing the Joker?
Yes, in the last 5 years.
I mean, okay.
This seems unfair. He used him twice in his main run.
Yes.
Death in the Family, and then.
Well, arguably 0 year as well.
And
I mean, he was around in 0 year. He wasn't the bad guy of that though.
And then just the Batman Who Laughs and all that stuff now, Justice League.
There are so many other villains on Justice League.
I'm just shooting from the hip, all right?
I know, and I want to just break this down and be like, no. If you feel Joker's overexposed, that's fine.
The point I'm making is I'm not really that. I mean, I like Poison Ivy well enough, but I'm not a Poison Ivy fan. I am not in denial because.
Clearly.
Was that?
I said clearly.
Oh, okay. But the point I'm making is that I just think, from a popularity standpoint, there's no way Poison Ivy's dead. No way.
No.
So that's where I am on that. But
So what are we rating this?
That's a good question. Matt's trying to wrap this up. He's like, you know what? We're done with this. Let's artificially wrap this up.
I got New Japan to watch. So
yeah. Yeah. What are you rating, Matt?
So even though this was my favorite out of the issues, I can't justify by giving it a really high score. Right. So I think this is 7.5. But I feel like I've given other issues a higher score, but I feel like I enjoyed this one more despite.
Oh yeah, no.
Weird.
If I'm rating this, I'm also gonna give it a 7.5. But I'll tell you right now, I like this one the most. This would easily be an 8.5, but I have to knock off a point for the sleazy pages. The Batgirl one especially. The Batgirl one I think is absolutely garbage. So that just is a straight point off because I can't not take points off for that. So 7.5. So Connor, what are you giving it?
4.
God, you would have thought Bendis wrote it with that score.
No, if Bendis wrote it, he wouldn't have given it a rating because he wouldn't have finished it.
To be honest, if this had the amount of dialogue that Bendis does on this as well, even more dialogue and in Bendis speak, oh boy, no, I would not get through an issue with this.
I don't think this has a lot of dialogue in it.
I think there are pages where it feels like there is a lot of dialogue, but if it was Bendis, it would be turned up to a lot more.
Okay. Heroes in Crisis, polarizing as always. We'll see how it goes with issue 5 next month. Well, this month actually, because this week's the week 4 from December pushed into week 1 of January. So yeah, see you in 4 weeks for Crisis number 5. Next up, then we'll move on to Detective Comics 995. Peter J. Tomasi writing, Doug Mahnke on the art. Second part of their run, second part of the arc, and they actually did it. They killed off Leslie Tompkins.
Speaking of things I don't think stick, I don't think this sticks. I don't know what's going on in the story.
No, I think she's killable.
Yeah, I think she's just big enough, but not so big that I can buy that they're going to kill, at least for a while.
When was the last time that she was a major part of any sort of story?
She popped up. Yeah, she popped up in Detective a bit. Yeah, during that.
A little bit, but not a lot. This is what I mean. Like, she's a little bit here, a little bit there, right? Which is enough that you could probably kill that and get away with it.
I just with the strange occurrences that happen throughout this, I'm not willing to until I see Bruce have a funeral and lower her body into the ground. I'm keeping an open mind.
Yeah, I mean the opening section of the book is quite well done in terms of how there's just the frantic nature to get back to the cave to give her the antitoxin, none of which work. She's like telling them to be happy or whatever.
How
She's
proud
dying.
she is.
Yeah. And then I love the page where he's like, no, the 2-page layout where he's like, no, I'm going to, shock her with a defibrillator, and it's like every time he jolts her, there's like a flashback panel of like an important point in his life with her, and until she dies at the end. I thought it was a really well done few pages. And then the rest of the book's pretty solid too. I will say, I think the art from Mahnke, it didn't have the proportions problem that Connor brought up last time. I did think it was a bit more scratchy this time compared to normal.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like it's in the inks that I'm feeling it personally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heavy cross-hatching and overly shaded areas.
Because that's Mahnke when he's doing something really dark, because it reminded me of some, like the Black Hand issue of Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Had that same thing with the overly cross-hatching, but I think it was just because it was such a dark story. I could see that here, but I don't feel like it meshed as well. Because I feel like there's intent there with the heavy inks and whatnot.
It was mainly on the faces. It felt just a bit overdone.
Yeah.
Too many.
I think the actual bat suit looks great. There's the panel where he's walking down, with all the villains there. The green bathing the green glow, and he's like, pulling on the pulling the gloves tighter.
Yeah, the suit looks good.
The suit looks fantastic there.
Yeah. So Bruce gets left alone with the body for a bit. Alfred goes upstairs, and he's got a tear running down his face. It's a really nice moment. And the door goes, and it the security system's like, oh, it's Commissioner Gordon's here, and he's like, oh, that's weird. Why is Commissioner Gordon here? And he opens the door, and I don't think anyone on the planet predicted who it was actually going to be, because Zorro is there, and he stabs Alfred out of nowhere. A wild Zorro appeared.
Can't take it seriously.
I can't, but I also love it because it's the ghost of Batman's past.
Yeah, Joe.
I know just last issue, Matt was saying, "Oh, I really like how they kept the Zorro thing."
Yeah,
because we talked about the flashback in the last issue, and we talked about how it's changed over the years, and Matt in particular is happy they've kept the Zorro thing.
Yeah,
this is your fault. You are responsible for Alfred stabbing.
Okay.
Yes. I did like the touch that, Bruce just hears the bell ringing, and he realizes that it's ringing so much that this means he's in danger, and he runs up, and Alfred's actually in the room where, the classic, year one room, I should become a Batfather, that page, and he's just lying on the floor with the bell, like, sir, I heed this bell quicker than you.
Yes. Yeah. Again, Alfred, even if he's going out, even if Alfred's going out, he's going out as sassy as possible, which I appreciate.
And obviously, we're not killing Alfred. I mean, that's the thing. It's one of those things where if they did go further and kill Alfred, they'd be like, okay, this is all going to get undone by the end of the arc. Leslie Tompkins, I can buy she's dead.
They just do some magic spray and give phone Damien.
Yeah, Damien's done some...
I did love that, though, where he goes, because I feel like it's a throwback to Tomasi on his Batman and Robin run.
Yeah.
Where if I remember right, Damien did do some type of surgery. So he's like, he's the next qualified.
Yeah.
No,
I like
after
that.
You.
And I like that, obviously, Tompkins dead, Alfred's just been, attempted, murder. I feel like, I like the ending of this book where he just goes to Arkham, he scares the shit out of Dr. Arkham and says, no, I'm going to talk to the inmates. And we have that great final few pages of him walking down that cell block, and all the villains looking at him, and he's like, you're going to talk, and you're going to tell me whatever you know, anything less will be unacceptable. Because the only monster in here is me, and the last page is just that dark page of the glow on his batsuit.
Which again, my only problem with that is we just got that in King's Batman, right? Is that he fought through Arkham because of Bane. Remember?
Yeah,
well,
I don't think that's what's going to
though.
happen here, though. This is him almost investigating one by one, right?
Yeah, this feels different to what King did, I think.
All right, well, we'll see. I just felt it struck the same chord with me.
But no, I like this show a lot. Actually, I thought.
So, do we think this is Hush? It's got to be Hush, right?
Hush. I mean, Hush is the most obvious candidate because it's about his past, and Hush likes to play with that.
Yeah.
Who
up.
else? Yeah. Who else knows Bruce that intimately like that?
It plays with tricking the system into thinking he's Gordon.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't think we talked about this, or maybe we did a little bit, about how Detective 1000, Tomasi's bringing in Arkham Knight. And we don't necessarily think it's Jason Todd, like the video game, because that would be weird, because Jason Todd's still Red Hood, and running
He's
around.
Red Hood
Yeah, we
outlaw.
definitely don't need two of the prick.
We don't know. And one of the favourite guesses has been Hush, because it would maybe line up. And I wonder if this is actually building up to like Arkham Knight is the one doing this, and Arkham Knight is actually Hush or whoever else.
Yeah, which would be interesting, because I assume at that point we wouldn't learn that it's Hush for quite some, because as Arkham Knight is only just being introduced in 1000, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't expect an unveiling of who that is.
Which, to be fair, is right after this arc. This arc will end at 999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe this does have on the cover the countdown to 1000.
Yep.
So it would play into no. The end of the arc is actually the story in 1000.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's Arkham Knight, and then I also saw some theories that it was what's the dude that was at the start of Snyder's run, the one who looked Bruce. March,
yeah, Lincoln March.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay. I don't know if I'd be thrilled with that reveal, but it's okay.
Yeah, I like that idea, but then I also like that Snyder kind of wrote that off by saying like, "Oh no, the court primed him to make him think that," you know. So if we never saw him again, I'd almost be okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with it being Hush, but at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want to be surprised. Like, Tomasi, pull out something that's cool but makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
quite a challenge.
It's quite a challenge, admittedly, so I won't blame him if it is just Hush or someone else that makes some amount of sense.
We haven't had a Hush story in quite a while.
That's true.
No?
That's been
Hard to Hush was the last time I remember seeing. Well,
no, Streets of Gotham.
He did show up in the wedding stuff.
That's true. He was in the wedding stuff.
That does not count.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. But I'm saying.
But no, Streets of Gotham, like the first volume of that was like a continuation of Heart of Hush, where he was pretending to be Bruce Wayne while Bruce was, dead, quote unquote.
That was a great little run.
I like that run a lot.
There was no Hush whatsoever in the New 52, was there?
Don't think so.
Not that I
can't recall any.
No, don't remember.
So I mean, we're looking at 8-9 years.
Yeah, without a proper Hush story.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to if this is Hush and we're just doing something new with it. It's been long enough that sure, do a big Hush story.
Honestly, like Hush doesn't have that great a look, so giving him the Arkham Knight suit isn't necessarily a terrible idea.
Yeah, because he can still do all the facial disguising and have that as
his combat suit. Yeah, he's like when he shows up to fight Batman.
Like I say, they can have a combat suit as well.
And actually, because tying this more into the Arkham Knight stuff, the fact that Batman goes to Arkham to interview a bunch of villains, if we get to the point where someone has taken the mantle of being called Arkham Knight, presumably it'll tie into Arkham, someone that's been at Arkham, someone that thinks he's the best of the villains or something
Definitely
like that.
Just Dr. Arkham.
Oh no, he did. So Hush showed up in Batman Eternal.
Okay.
The last time he was there, it was October 2014.
All right.
Okay, I remember that.
That was when he first showed up, and this plays into stuff that happens in Batgirl because Jason Bard was involved in that. Jason Bard shows up in Batgirl.
Oh yeah.
So
look at that.
I'll be honest. A lot of things happened in Batman Eternal.
Yeah, I gave up. Like,
it's worth reading. It was an interesting thing weekly. It's not bad.
Yeah, I tried like just reading it in bulk. I think I got through like 10 issues a few years ago, and just kind of forgot about it and left.
It's farthest I got. Yeah, farthest I got was the Batgirl where she goes down to South America.
Yeah,
and I just remember not liking the art at all, and was like,
she's with a Batwing, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, the art was all over the place because it was a weekly book. The art was just rotating like mad.
It's always going to happen on a weekly book, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't that it was rushed art. I just didn't like the art. And I was looking for an excuse to drop it anyways. So,
well, a weekly book's a hard pickup, so you're buying 4 of them a month.
Yeah,
has to be good to keep your.
Looking at you and Kenny X-Men.
At least we know it's not staying weekly. It's ending its weekly reign after a couple more issues, so that's nice.
Yeah.
So.
Can I just say this is a weird thing? I really like the font on the title page. For not just the mythology, but the Ring Them Bells, which is obviously the title of the issue.
Okay.
I really like that font.
Yeah. I thought it was a good issue. I like this more than the last one. I think because the last one, I liked the detective stuff, and then the monster stuff with Leslie was well done, but ultimately was less interesting. I think this issue the mystery of it's actually amped up a little bit. I like the emotion of Tompkins, also Alfred getting hurt. I think it was more of a. I would say that maybe just some minor art complaints, and they are minor. Like, it still looked good overall. I probably like this more than the last issue. I don't know if that's the consensus here or.
Yeah.
I'm kind of it's kind of on par with the last issue for me, I suppose.
Okay.
I think the art is maybe worse in this, even though I had some big complaints in the last one. This that took me out of specific moments. This seems more consistently just like you say. I think it's that scratchy inks that just kind of makes the whole thing look a little bit muddier almost.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll rate it. Matt, what are you giving Detective?
So I'm gonna give this one an 8 because I did like what it did with the story. And again, Sassy Alfred's worth some extra points. So,
Connor,
I'll go with a 6.5. It's pretty good. It's all right.
That feels skewed low for me. I don't know why, but that feels a bit.
I don't know if 7 is no, this is good.
That's basic
6.5 is like it's all right.
Connor's our low grader. He's that teacher in school where you're just like, I did my best, and I'm still only gonna get a B.
Hey, if that's all it's worth, that's all it's worth. I'm not giving you more just because you tried.
No, I'm going to go with a solid 8 as well. I like this issue quite a bit. Take away the minor art complaints, it might have been an 8.5, but no, I think Detectives, Tomasi's Detective runs off. Yeah.
So outside of some
Mike's going.
Make.
As soon as he opens his mouth.
So, as I was saying before my mic decided to go nuts, outside of those Robinson issues, I think Detective's been pretty solid since the start of Rebirth. Like, it's the one book that I can look at and be like, oh yeah,
it's been very consistent. Yeah. I would say, as of right now, this hasn't started as strongly as Tan's run did.
No.
And that came out a little bit flashier. Obviously, we're excited. Start of Rebirth.
Well, because it was a new take on Detective.
On what the title was going to be.
It was a new concept.
Back to basics.
Yeah,
it was a new concept. It was all of these team members that we didn't get to see for a while. This is more traditional Batman. And... Yeah,
I appreciate that it is seemingly going to be more detective focused.
Yeah.
It's in a decent place still, though.
Yeah. That'll take us on, though, to Action Comics 1006. Brian Michael Bendis writing, Ryan Sook on the art. So this issue, we have another confrontation with Red Cloud. To the point where Clark actually kind of seems to know who it is, and he follows her because she tries to attack Melody Moore at the fire station.
I got so worried, Pete.
Did you get worried your redhead was in danger?
I did, because I was like, oh, don't weeden me. Dennis, don't make me love a character and then just wipe him out to prove a point.
Yeah.
And luckily didn't. And I love that Superman, it's been going around like through Twitter, like people that I follow, where like this is like the most Superman Bendis has got.
Because he jumps in and he uses his super breath to blow the Red Cloud away from Melody because she's being suffocated. And he ends up fighting her, and he tries to basically reason with Red Cloud and says, hey, you can turn this around, and he holds out his hand. It's a great moment. It's a great panel where he holds out his hand and says, you can be better than this. You can redeem yourself.
I'll help you.
It's Superman. It's full-on Superman. There's a lot of great stuff in this. The opening where he's doing his reporting, if you will, and he's accosting the mayor about the accusations that he said not to investigate the fires, and the mayor's a dickbag and starts like talking about Lois and like those pictures of Lois with Lex in the paper. How's your wife, Clark? And he's been just a dick. And obviously Clark knows what's going on, but he's using his super hearing afterwards, and the mayor's freaked out that Clark was asking these questions. He's like, how does he know about this? And they question that Melody's the one who knows and maybe talked because she's the only one who could have talked. I do like that his staff though point out that, but you spoke to her about this at a ball. Like anyone could have overheard this. Like,
you were sloppy. That's on you. Like, yeah.
So I like
also, that. So we get the scene at the Daily Planet, and Perry's being Perry, and Jimmy. Jimmy starts a story that I just want to know what happens in between, because we get the beginning and we get the end, and through the middle of the story, Clark's using his X-ray to look for. He's looking for what's her name, right? Red Cloud.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And I have to pull it up because there's a line that Jimmy says.
It's when Clark says, Jimmy, I'll have to catch up with you later. Yeah. Jimmy's like finishing his story, and he says something about having sex with Talia al Ghul was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And some people have read this as that Jimmy had sex with Talia, and I don't think I'm reading it that way.
No, it's whatever the story was, because he says, well, funny thing, and then the X-ray starts, and you get that really cool page of Clark looking through the Daily Planet building with his X-ray. But yeah, then at the end he says, and that's why I think sleeping with Talia al Ghul was a huge mistake, but everyone is saying, and it just gets cut off. So whatever the story he was telling, I feel is like whatever sources he had.
Yeah, stuff's going down. Stuff's happening.
So funny. But then it's also the notes that he has. It says, call Miss Al Ghul at 10:15. Talia al Ghul called at 9:15. So, I don't know. Maybe the redhead guy is the Ginger's a player. I don't know.
When we get to Silence later, I'm going to have some suggestions for Jimmy as to why this is a bad idea. But
yeah.
No, everything about Superman showing up to save Melody, the conversation, the attempt, and then the hug at the end because she's like terrified that she almost died. It's all gold. Felt really Superman. Ryan Sook's art's great. It feels. I like the heavy lines. I like how it feels very kind of
pulpy.
Very pulpy.
I keep saying it.
And confident. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just love that hug page too, where Superman's just like, yeah, that's not the greatest feeling.
Yeah, since silhouette against the backdrop of the fire, the door.
So there were the Bendis pictures you were talking about that he put on Instagram, and he was talking about a romantic rival, right? Now, not that I'm saying like Clark would ever, but do you feel like that Lois would see more as a threat because she's been gone and like they've become close?
I don't think as of yet.
But I'm saying, do you think that's a direction that Bendis would take it? Because I like this character a lot, and I don't want her, because I can see her developing a crush on Superman.
Yeah, I can see that, but if it does go down that path, it would have to be well done and justified. Because as it is, you tell me Lois gets jealous of someone because Clark's saving them, I'd be like,
Yeah,
I'm just saying that.
Because I don't think like we're gonna get a Maxima situation where she comes down and is like, "Oh, Superman's the only one worth mating with me," and we have something like that, or or like a Poison Ivy mind control kind of deal. I just feel like that issue, with what was it, the Queen of Thorns or something, like whatever villain that was. Yeah. But I don't know.
I would guess no for now. I mean, Melody having a crush on Superman, I can totally see. But that could be interesting, the dynamic, because she doesn't know, because she's met Clark, right. She'll meet Clark again, maybe she'll know Clark is married, but she doesn't know Superman's married.
Exactly. So from well, that's always too. People always bring up that panel earlier in the arc where Superman swoops down and kisses Lois, but at that point, Lois is wearing a blonde wig. They're in the middle of Chicago, like no one knows who Superman's with. So I just feel like Bendis is taking his shots very deliberately. So and it's fun to have that romantic kind of triangle when it's not Clark and Superman and Lois, but it would be
it's more of a square. It's more of a square.
Yeah, make more of a square. But then again, it could just be completely platonic, and Melody just admires him because he is a hero, and like I always associate Superman with a firefighter, and I forget even what book that was in, where someone called him a glorified firefighter.
Wasn't that Batman? I feel that was Batman.
I think so. But yeah.
So we end the book with Good going to the boss of the secret mafia, right? That's secret, and this lady Leon, she is like, she hates Superman. She we had to change all of our rules when he showed up because, and we've been operating for years with under his nose, but we've had to change how we do things. Time was we would just kill someone because they stepped out of line. Now we have to be creative because Superman will like detect us, and then that'll lead to our downfall. But it turns out she's the one who's bought the Daily Planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final page is because you see a lot of like heirlooms, and she's like a collector of like antiques and art and stuff. The final page reveals that she has the car from Action Comics 1, the cover. Which
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So I came home from the shop, and this is the first thing that I read. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table reading it, and my wife's watching Dateline, and I get to that last page, and I did that sound I just did with a fist pump.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What's wrong with you?"
Hold on a second. I have to address this. Connor looked disgusted when I said what that final page was. Why do you hate this?
Oh, that just stinks of fan service. I don't know. Clearly, this is just me.
You say stinks, and I say smells amazing.
I feel this is no different to me than like half of comic book cliffhangers. We always rely on nostalgia in comic books. Always.
Yeah, but this one is particularly egregious.
I don't know. If she's been following Superman from the time that he got there, it would make sense that she's collecting mementos. You know?
I'm not reading it. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to go, you've got the context. You know, to me, when you just said that then, that was my reaction. Yeah, there wasn't a planned thing. I didn't know about this.
Tyler pays for Brimstone, right?
Yes. Yes, that's Tyler, yes.
So Tyler, Brimstone's ending. So I'm just saying, if you want to make him read action, feel free, buddy.
Or Abdel Nightwing. I mean...
No, see, it's much more justified to make him read action. So
yeah, but they already get us talking about action. They really want him tinging it with his negativity.
No, because he'd end up liking it.
Or do they want to punish him and make him read something truly abhorrent? I feel like that's the thing. Which, by the way, I don't think we mentioned this on this particular show, but the punishment issues now on Patreon, technically they can be for Marvel books or whatever. They'll just, if you pick a Marvel book, it'll be on the other show.
Yeah, or indie. Pretty much anything that's not DC.
Yeah. But it can still be DC. There's no reason why you have to change.
You guys just there's peeking into Pandora's box. You guys just threw it on the table and just like, hey, what's in here? And you just flipped it open for all to see. I mean, oh man.
I don't know. Anyway, Action was great.
Think of all the leaf field you make Pete read.
Shut up. Action Comics was...
Oh my god, Cable and the X-Men.
Action Comics was great this week. I will not hear more words about any such nonsense.
You mentioned...
I didn't say any negative words. I just didn't
you mentioned the Sook art. And I thought, it wasn't a fight scene because it was just the super breath. But I thought that scene was handled really well through the art, with him disrupting her, because he knows how to fight her now. She got too confident. And... Yeah,
because earlier in the issue, she's saying, "Oh, Red Cloud beat Superman. Yeah. She didn't lose," and at the end, she's like, "Oh, I survived Superman twice.
I have an edge." Yeah.
So she's still cocky. She's still cocky even after that encounter. But yeah.
She's got a lot to learn, and I'm still doubling down that she got her powers from a hero dial or a villain dial, however this works out.
Maybe we'll see.
So, because they brought up the fact that there's people like them popping up in the city, right? Like that's what Leon tells her. Let me find it.
Fact checking.
I have an idea. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm conflating. I'm
checking those facts. Got a fact check. Well, to wrap this up though, from Action, as per usual, the title page has some Easter eggs in it. Notably, a post-it note saying Greg Ruck is writing an unofficial Lois Lane book.
Unauthorized.
Yeah, unauthorized. That was the word. There's also some jokes about Martian Manhunter having an unsolicited past. And then a bunch of stuff about Trish, because it's Trish's desk this time. Trish, the gossip columnist, who's got a lot of stuff about Lois and Lex and various other things. But it was the Lois Lane by Rucka thing that really stood out. I'm like, get announcing that soon, you bastards.
To me now. Give it to me now. Yeah, so I don't know where I got that from. I read over that last page, but maybe I'm conflating it with something that happens in another book later.
Maybe.
So,
what are you giving it, Matt? What are you rating it?
Oh, this was a 9. Solid 9.
Yeah, I agree. I also give this a 9. I thought it was a fantastic issue. Action. Do you know, it's funny. I love this month's issue of Superman, and I said this is the month where Superman might beat Action, and now I'm not sure because this was another fantastic issue of Action. So, I don't know what
Although we get the next one for January comes out in 2 weeks, and it's the Return of John.
For Superman,
So
yeah. Actually, it's 4
Superman.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just meant you said this might be the month that it beats it, and.
Oh shit! I'm counting this as the end of December though, because it's.
Oh, okay.
It's of that month's books.
Gotcha.
It's just we got it in week 1 of January because of Christmas. Right. But yeah, so that's action. We'll move on then to Wonder Woman issue 61. G. Wilson writing, Xermanico on art, if I'm saying that correctly, and. So yeah, Steve's with Aphrodite and is like, "Hey, help me find Diana," and she's like, "I've grown bored of love." And he's like, "No, love's great. I mean, love hurts sometimes, but it's worth it."
He says while bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys ever watched Chappelle's show, but there's this really funny skit with Prince, right? And it's Dave Chappelle's Prince, and one of the key lines that came out of this is, "This bores me." That's how I read it out of Aphrodite. Like she's Dave Chappelle as Prince. So, and then the way that Pete just read it was similar to that. Yeah.
This is such a specific reference, huh?
It is.
Yeah. Can I get an art thing out of the way first? And it's less a criticism and more of a question.
Okay.
Yep.
Which of the artists was wrong?
Yeah.
And Matt already knows where I'm going with this.
Go on.
Because Aphrodite looks nothing like Diana in this issue.
Nope. She doesn't have the same hair color.
Yeah.
How's the editorial messing this up so bad?
Now, I want to give Terry Nord the benefit of the doubt. He's the regular artist, right? He's the one that's been doing it. He should be the one that's, leading the direction. He probably knows better than anyone else.
I mean, it depends, because with double shipping books, you technically have 2 main artists, because you have to.
I think, but Terry Nord was initially solicited for this art issue as well. This was a last-minute change.
But even if it's not just the art, too, it's something as simple as hair color.
Yeah.
How do you mess that up in coloring? Like, who's falling asleep at the wheel?
All issue, I was like, okay, so what does Ares look like in this book? And then the bastard only shows up with his helmet on, doesn't he?
I assume she had dark hair on the last. I can't remember.
She did. Yeah. She looked like Diane.
It never occurred to me. I couldn't remember it.
Conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't remember what she looked like in the last issue, so it never even occurred to me that there was a change. Look, it was 3 weeks instead of 2 because of the week off, right? Give me peace. Actually, this is the best issue yet.
Yeah.
I really like this issue. I think the run's hitting its stride. I think everything, Wonder Woman saving kids in the war-torn, country, the conversation with the Prime Minister, Steve reuniting with her, all that stuff I thought was good. Her being like, Aphrodite's here, wait, what? Because at first she's almost jealous, like, who's this in just the shirt? Like, what was this, Steve? He's like, oh, that's just Aphrodite. And she's like, Aphrodite? He's like, I must kneel. I must kneel before Aphrodite.
Well, and then some pages it's almost that she has red hair.
Yeah.
Now that I'm going through it.
Yeah, the one where Diana's kneeling for her. It's red. Yeah. That's a colorist fault, though. I don't know who the colorist was.
Yeah, because she doesn't look like anything like Diana.
I don't know if they did their own colors. No, do you know what's not interesting? That colorist name looks familiar enough that I think it's the guy that's been doing all the issues.
Very possibly. To me, the whole red and brown thing, though, it kind of feels like, I don't know if this is intentional, but yeah, if it was like sometimes when you shine a light on someone with red hair or with brown hair, it looks more red. I wonder if that's kind of what the intent is. It just looks like it's.
But even then, we only saw her really in one panel last time.
Yeah.
But someone messed up.
I wonder if it was just like after that last panel, it was like, oh, that felt a bit too much like Diana, so it was a conscious choice to editorially say, hey, make her look a bit more distinct.
As much as I am enjoying this run for the story, I feel like some of the art, has been a little bit.
I thought the art in this was good.
No, it is. I'm talking overall. Like, that's as much as I'm loving G. Willow Wilson's story for what she's doing. Like, it's very much Wonder Woman that I enjoy. The art inconsistencies.
Yeah, I went back and checked on the last issue. Same colorist.
Okay.
So maybe they're the ones that we should be blaming for that. But the hair color is notably much darker in the last issue. It's almost black in the last issue with little bits of lighter brown peeking through.
Well, I mean, it was probably a conscious choice then after that issue to change it. It's the sort of thing. It wouldn't surprise me if the trades recolored that last page just to make it match.
I I do love her swan sweater. That's fantastic because the swan is a thing that was a representation of Aphrodite during Rucka's run.
Yeah.
Remember when all the animals came to visit her?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I like that.
No, I mean, I really liked the art. I thought it looked good.
I prefer it to Nord. That's just me.
We didn't like Nord.
For me, I think it was a lot too heavy on the inks and the shadows compared to Nord stuff. That it felt very different from the first 3 issues of this run. That was a little jarring for me.
It feels different, but I like it a lot. I love the page where Wonder Woman lassos a rocket that just is going past.
Yeah.
Not as cool as Lasso and the Sword though.
No, but I also like where it's
taste,
that single page, that single page spread. It's very Captain America with her shield.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then she has Aphrodite.
I like how you didn't mention Steve's there with a makeshift shield as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, I like that. I don't know. I feel like the action looks good. I think the emotional beats look good, and obviously it ultimately ends with finding Ares because they're trying to escort the Prime Minister because the rivals want peace talks, and they're like, why are they still firing at us if they want peace talks? And it's like, no, Ares is stoking the war. He's the one behind this, and apparently it is showing up in fighter jets as well, fashionably as always.
But yeah.
No, I think this a lot. I think this run's getting better as it goes.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Connor, you sound so deflated.
I don't know. I think it was my least favorite issue of the run. But I don't want to just sit here and argue.
I do love that Ares materializes his axe.
Of course, you love that.
Diana. Well, no, but she flung it away, and he's like, "Oh no, not this time."
Yeah.
You know?
Oh dear.
So,
no.
I know I'm really enjoying what Wilson's doing here. So, and it's back on track with what I enjoy about Wonder Woman, which is that balance of like superhero plus, I don't want to say political, but there is an undercurrent there of like, to me that's where she needs to be. Also, there's a little bit of politics underneath.
I like Nord, but I think I might actually agree with Matt and say Xermanico is actually a little bit better.
No, not even close.
Nah, I like this art. I think a bit more than the last couple.
Me too.
And I like the last couple.
It's reminiscent of Evely, and we all know how I feel about Evely. So,
it's just too scratchy for me.
It harkens back to the legendary issue 8 of Wonder Woman of ye old times.
Yes.
Of 2016.
But again, like I put my favorite, Wonder Woman run is by Rucka. So that's the one I compare all other to, and this feels closer to that. And that's the version that I enjoy. It's kind of like when Superman has a new writer, and it's it's akin to what you feel. So or even Batman for that matter. So everyone has a favorite, favorite run that they refer back to. So
I'm curious to see where this goes now. And I feel this issue, to me, like, I think the conflict felt at its most heightened. Like, when Ares steps out at the end and it felt like shit was about to go down. Because we've had some great action. That fight with Ares, like, 2 issues ago, or last issue, whatever issue that was, with all the fighting in the sky, that was fantastic. But I feel like there it was like, we're fighting because we have to fight because we're, I'm Wonder Woman, you're Ares, right? Whereas this, it feels like, no, now there's more stakes behind the fight because now we've planted the flags. Yeah. And I like that. I like the escalation in the arc.
I want to know how Aphrodite's going to fight because they always say that there's nothing worse than a loved one scorned.
When she's when they're walking through that page where they're walking through with the Prime Minister, you can see her on the back, and she's got it's almost Gambit-esque. She's got like some energy, like pink energy.
I think she's just kind of waving things away.
Yeah.
She does.
So it's like, you can be the god of war, but when you pissed off the god of love, it's going to be that much worse.
No, digging Wilson's Wonder Woman. Let's rate the book. So, Matt, what are you giving it?
8.5.
And what comically low rating is Connor giving it?
It's a 7.
I wonder if Connor liked any books this week. Like, I feel like 7's going to be the peak.
I can tell you now, it is not.
Okay, all right. I'm looking down the list. I can see 1 or 2 that might actually get a high rating.
I have 3 books that are above a 7.
Oh dear. All right. which is interesting actually for reasons. But we'll get to that.
That's his last 3, I think.
My rating.
I got 4 more still.
My rating is. I'm giving it a 9. I love this issue.
Huh? Fair.
I loved it. I had a good week for comics. Like, all this negativity from Connor was baffling me. I had a great week for DC Comics.
Maybe I was just in a bad mood when I read these all. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was.
You're always in a bad mood. You're the cynical one. You're here intentionally to be the voice of negativity, just so that it's not all praise.
Well, we gotta be balanced.
I mean, I'm more balanced than Matt is. Matt's the one who goes flying off the handle, but.
Yeah, I'm volatile.
I'm pretty sure you just gave that a higher score than Matt.
I did, but that's rare. Like it tends to be
It is
Matt.
rare, yeah.
All right, we'll move on then to the Flash number 61. Joshua Williamson writing, Christian Duce on the art. So we've moved away from Rafa Sandoval. That's the one. And we're on to Duce, who I think for the most part fits Flash better.
Yeah.
Except I don't like, and I'm gonna pull the Connor here. I don't like the way he draws Flash's wings on his helmet.
Oh yeah. That's still a complaint, but I will take the stupid long wings over the stupid muscly huge Flash.
Do you know what?
I
don't necessarily disagree that I don't want the wings as big as that, but there is a page in this where the wings look really sticky out to me. It's a page with him and standing next to I think Forza.
Yeah.
And I'll be for some reason on that panel, it just to me I was like, you know what, this feels like an old school ridiculous winged Flash. I'm kind of into it.
There's towards the end when Fezza goes big.
Yes.
It's the panel that reveals that she's that big. Look at those wings. Look at them. They are sticking out to the goddamn ceiling of that cave.
So to pull a Connor, I got very distracted by those every time I was on the page, and it made me a little bit grumpy and not enjoy this issue as much. Even though when I look back at it, I'm like, I enjoyed most of what I read.
I think there's a testament here to how much I'm enjoying Williamson's Flash run is that I finished this the first time and I was like, oh, that was a weaker issue, and then I skimmed through it again. I was skimming through most of the books before we started, and I was like, oh, well, this is actually still really good. Like, I still enjoyed this quite a lot. I'm enjoying what it's doing with the story. It just wasn't a standout, and that's okay.
No.
Because
I definitely like this more than the last few issues.
I like that Commander Cold and Detective Burns are actually getting on Barry's couch when he calls.
I love that she's like, why do you live in Alan's apartment? What's going on here?
Well, all he has to say is he's my cousin from I'm from out of town. I'm waiting to get on my feet. It's an easy answer, but I do love her going because I love how he kicks down the picture as if he doesn't want them looking at what they're about to do.
Yeah.
So no, they deal with the Forza thing. She's going to kill the bad guy, the corrupt cop, and Barry's like, no, you can't kill, yada yada. She hulks out, and it's cool. But before that, she uses her gravity powers for the first time to sort of dismantle the situation. Barry then has to shock her to get her to shrink back down to size, and ultimately she's like, no, he's like, you can't kill, and it's actually her mum or whoever who runs in says this kind of the same thing, and it kind of ends that. But she's in a bit of a disgruntled place when Barry leaves because she's not happy that this guy's probably going to just get out of the system, quite quickly because he's got a lot of friends in places. But they trace the Force Gun energy, not the Force Gun, the Sage Force Gun specifically. That's what he calls Commander Cold about, and it tracks. What was the name of the country? Was it Zendia? Which
I'm looking up right now. So once you finish this, I'll drop some.
Which is a safe haven for criminals. They like to vacation there because of the rules, the lax rules, seemingly. So Iris has this insane idea for them to dress up as supervillains because obviously the Flash will be immediately noticed and be like, "Hey, we don't like you." I suppose I'll criticise that they get cut so quickly. I question what the point was. However, Iris having fun with it and Barry being like, "You're enjoying this way too much," was worth it for the joke.
I'll be honest, I think the reveal at the end of what's actually going on explains why they got caught so quickly.
Oh sure, yeah.
Well, no, because even though it was Magpie going, "You're a little bit too familiar," that's I think Pete's talking about.
Well, it's not so much that I don't like the explanation as to why they get caught. It's just that, just narratively, they're caught so quickly. I'm like, was it worth the effort of even doing this part of the plot? But I mean, it's a minor complaint. It's a minor complaint because I had fun with the pages themselves. It's just I was like, oh, it's a bit quick.
So I looked up Zandia, and according to this wiki, it's a small island nation in Europe. I think it's in the Baltic.
Okay.
And it was the original home of the Church of Blood. So I think this is a new take that Williamson's giving to it, and it kind of reminds me in over at Marvel, Madripoor, which is that island where all things go, and Wolverine puts on a patch and becomes Patch, and that's really awesome.
Yes, we know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Patch and matches Malone.
So
that crossover
the Sage Force dude where this Sage energy came from is cheating the gambling here, and at the end he actually catches the Flash, and he's like, "Oh wait, you're the Flash? Oh, I'm a big fan." And that's kind of the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But we also know that the two that are chasing them, what were they called? I forget what their names were now.
The Gemini.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Gemini. They're already there because they got here first, so they're just waiting for the Flash. So. Yeah.
I do like though that he is creating these new heroes out of the Force. I feel like
I don't know if this dude's going to be a hero. This feels a bit more sketchy. This dude.
I have a question. So all these villains, are they actually here? Are any of them here? Because
I think so.
It feels like to me like the way he's talking, like he's creating these manifestations based off of what he's reading in their minds.
He was playing cards against like villains that were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like a good majority of them there, the Flash villains, I don't think are. But I feel like Giganta, Gizmo with his weird goatee he's got now.
Okay. I'm just questioning because like that in the very last page where it's all these Flash villains behind them, they seem to be fading out of existence.
Yeah.
But the double page spread before that, there's a lot of Flash villains there.
Yeah.
So and if he's just going, "Hey, you're the Flash" in front of all these villains.
Yeah. That's good.
I mean, he's still got a mask on at least. It's not like he's completely. This is not TV Barry with a hood down,
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give him
but I like how layered like Forza is, where she's just kind of like, well, no, I'm my own person. Don't tell me how to be a hero. Like, and I like how they didn't leave like on the best of terms, So. And then I feel like the same is going to be with the Psyche guy, or Psyche. Although we've all known that Barry's far too trusting. Because look at August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. I think Barry will have to learn a lesson again here because he's going to be trusting, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh hey, big, the guy's like, I am a big fan. Barry will be like, okay, cool, let's do this. Let's go, Flash stuff. And then it'll be like, oh, actually, I'm going to betray you now.
Let's go Flash stuff. That sounds like you're going to go and expose yourself to random people on the street.
All right, let's go and do Flash stuff. I'm sorry for not using all the words in a sentence.
Let's go Flash stuff. Not even people, just stuff. I'm going to go flash a duck.
So, didn't Williamson create the villain paper cut? That was his name, where he could make the paper come to life.
I remember that. Yeah,
I remember that. I don't know if it was Williamson.
He's in that page where they all catch him. He's over standing in front of Grodd. And I think that's supposed to be Savitar in the back. Bloodworks there. The Trigger Twins. Yeah, there's an awful lot of Flash villains in there.
Which, I mean, there's so many there that it feels like the majority of that double page spread is Flash villains.
Yeah, Dr. Polaris. He can count as a Flash villain, I guess. Roulette.
So, how many people are actually on this street seeing this exchange? I'm a little confused. It
maybe not many.
Yeah, because let me go to the page before, and it looks like there's Livewire, there's Mammoth.
I feel like it'll
be... there, because I see Simon.
I feel like it's almost redundant, even like guessing, because I'm pretty sure the first couple of pages of the next book are just going to immediately tell us.
Probably.
Yeah. Question for our
audience
fans out there. Yeah, the audience. Who's the lady riding the gorilla? Because I felt that was supposed to be Monsieur Mallah and the Brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
But she's riding a gorilla, and I needs to know.
Yeah, Matt's in love, basically. He needs to know who this is. So, inform him. Would you kindly?
Does anyone know where Iris's mask went on the last page?
Oh, is it missing? Let me...
Yeah, like it's definitely there on the double page spread, and then it's just not there after.
I don't need this anymore. You know what? She kind of reminds me of Marionette. in some of those
Yeah,
pages.
I can see it.
So
Just vanishes.
I can't say I've got an explanation for it, but
no, Flash, Speed Force. You don't have to explain shit. Because where did the costumes come from? Did he materialize them out of the Speed Force?
I mean, he ran off and picked them up. She had hers from whatever this mission before with Magpie was, where she robbed a bank with Two-Face.
It was the second National Bank, which I thought was a nice touch.
Obviously, yeah.
No, that's a good point. I mean, I was going to argue maybe she's holding it in her hands because her hands are up towards her face, but I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it, does it? It looks more like that her hands are in front of her mouth in shock.
Yeah. It is a goofy looking page, though. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I have no answer for you. It's a mistake. It's an oversight.
It is. It's not a big deal. I was just questioning maybe I'd missed something.
I mean, yeah, his mistake score is pretty low in the list, but
yeah, it's not as important as a missing cross.
Let's rate this book out of 10. Matt, what do you give it?
Not even an 8. It was really solid, but yeah, some of the art stuff wasn't as good for me, but I do enjoy the story.
Connor?
Yeah, I had fun. There was barely any of the other two whose names I'm forgetting that I don't like. Art, while not amazing, was so much better than the last few issues, so it felt like a relief. So I'm going to go with a 7.5.
I am going to concur with the 7.5. I thought it was a solid Flash issue. Still enjoying the run a lot. So
there you go. There's one above a 7.
That'll take us on to Batgirl number 30. Mairghread Scott writing with Paul Pelletier on the art. I will actually. We seem to be starting with art a lot in these books this week for some reason. I do think this might be the worst art of these issues with Pelletier doing them.
Yeah, I had to look to make sure it was Pelletier because it seemed familiar, and I was like, did they just get someone that is a similar? Because this is not what I'm used to.
So, some of his faces in this were a little bit
cartoony.
They almost look during the thing where the face kind of splits and stretches a little bit down to the side. It almost looked like that in some panels where the mouth just looked it was stretching.
The mouth goes a little bit too far. It's on the very first page, I think it is the panel close up on her lips. It looks like they stick out quite a bit. I love all the wide shots are fantastic though. I still think most of that stuff's great. It's just a couple of facial expressions that bug me.
It's funny because obviously we're talking about Batgirl art and Heroes in Crisis, and we complained a lot about how the suit was drawn. I don't think the suit here is perfect all the time. There's still a little bit of bib sockage going on here or there, but it's not as bad. However, I think the face and Clayman's faces are way better than what this is doing.
No, that's fair.
I think that's really
Jonathan, I forgot to mention that I only noticed in the Heroes in Crisis issue, and I think it was actually on the other way around. In the Heroes in Crisis issue is the little bat symbol on the on the gloves, the bat face at the ears.
Oh sure, yeah.
I'd never noticed them before until the close up in Heroes in Crisis. And then I think they were on the inside in that issue though, and now I'm seeing it here on the outside. So I mean, speak to an editor. But
wait, what are you talking about?
So if you look at the second page, the title page, the double page where she's swinging, if you look at the front glove, where the yellow becomes grey.
It's about all bat head.
Yeah,
coming out of the glove.
Yeah, I never noticed that before either.
Yeah. I was like, that was a really nice little touch on the outfit that I'd never noticed before.
Yeah, so the plot of this new arc then, because we're starting a new arc with this issue, we have a politician running for mayor. Alejo is her name, and she is apparently a good candidate, although Babs a little upset that one of her main kind of policies is that she's gunning for the GCPD as a corrupt outfit who aren't doing anything. So obviously it's it's like, okay, her policies are good, but she's kind of attacking my dad.
To be fair though, outside of Gordon, it is filled with a lot of bad cops. So
yeah, this isn't news.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Everyone knows Gordon knows this.
So
right, and I get why Gordon's upset, but again, he's a little bit blinded.
It's where he's like, no, we can sort it out ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, can you though? It's been a while and you haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a rally. She's doing like a whole press thing, and these bad guys cause chaos, and they're actually wanting to make it look like they're there to support her, but they're actually trying to like incite a riot to support the opposition, the other candidate, Moore, I think they said his name was.
Scott is really touching on some real world parallels here.
Yeah. So and one of them's even get a cane. It's the what was Bard.
He's the ringleader. Yeah. But at the time we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, we don't know that yet. It's not until later on we see him in the office where he says his name in that.
And he's Babs
unmasked him.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Yeah, she says that. Yeah.
And then that's when she's surprised when she shows up and he's working for Alejo, because we know that we don't actually know what he's doing. We don't know if he's playing both sides. We don't know if he's actually supporting Alejo, but it's Jason Bard. He's a corrupt cop.
He does whatever benefits him.
Pretty much. So Batgirl has a bit of a altercation with Gordon in the middle of all this chaos. She jumps in to try and help, and she actually like almost says something that very un-Batgirl, and then realizes, wait a minute, he doesn't know it's you. Calm down.
She forgets that she's Batgirl.
To try and comfort him, and he's like, "Get your hand off me! Come on, there's a limit."
I tolerate Batman. I don't tolerate you.
So she goes off running, doesn't quite grab them, and then she ends up fighting with her dad as herself, where she's like, I mean, part of this is to infiltrate and kind of like keep her safe, keep the politicians safe, because she wants to get close and just be there essentially. So she says to her dad that she's going to like volunteer at her campaign, and he's like, no, absolutely not. How would it look my daughter doing this? Blah blah blah. And they get into a bit of a shouting match. And this is where some of the faces as well were kind of letting me down. I feel like it was worse on Babs. I think Gordon, like, his mustache.
Covered by the mustache.
Yeah. The mustache almost actually like hides any of the problems with the mouth that otherwise.
I'll be honest, there's only really like 1 or 2 panels that are really bad. It's the close up where she says no, you can't. Is probably the one that I really don't like.
Just in that page. One of the ones that I thought was the worst was when she first interacts with Gordon during the riot.
Oh yeah. I meant in this, in this bit where you said it was some of the worst stuff.
The panel where she says, "So why are you starting one with me?" Which is the end of a page. Her mouth in that panel, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's.
No, I'll give you that one too.
So yeah, she goes to the campaign. The side minor plot point, which I'm sure will be relevant later, is that someone's buying up tons of stock of Babs's company, even though there's no reason to be doing it right now, which reeks of sketchiness.
Yeah, it does. And she's just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So worth mentioning. But she goes in, and that's when she ends up finding Bard with Alejo, and he's trying to convince her that he's got intel and that he's there for a good cause, and reveals who might be trying to kill her. What was the name?
Cormorant,
yes. Yeah. And that sets up our cliffhanger. I'm interested in what the story's doing here. It may be my least favourite issue of the book since Mairghread took over in general, and I think part of that is the art kind of letting it down.
That's fair. Alternatively, for me, I think it's probably amongst my favourite in terms of what the plot's doing. Like, this is a lot more compelling than the first arc ever was.
I think it'll get more compelling. I think this first issue is, like I say, hurt a little bit by the art. The fight with her dad felt just maybe a little bit quick.
Okay, I liked that. I liked that he was like, well, no, you can't go do that.
It felt really natural to me, him being like, no, she's making me look bad. How bad's it going to look if you go and support her? He's snapped. I don't think it's not something he means he'll apologize. But he's got to, he's not in the best of places.
He's very, like, he's taking bats to the bat signal. He's getting raked over the coals by this politician. Like,
one of my favorite moments in the art is actually after Babs walks out, she slams the door, and Gordon's just there looking down, and you can tell just the way that is there. He's like, damn it, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. He's already regretting the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm still looking forward to the rest of the arc, but no, I think mainly the art kind of pulled this one down a little bit for me.
Yeah, big time.
So that's kind of where I'm on it. Matt, what are you rating it?
It's a 7.
Connor.
I'm really into story on this one. This was an 8.
Oof. All right. I'm going to go with 6.5.
And I'm really out of whack with you guys this week.
You really are.
Yeah.
It was the art. Those mouths were pissing me off. Like it was just like, it just felt like the quality dipped in the art. So it was distracting me. But hey, we'll move on to Justice League Odyssey issue 4. Joshua Williamson writing, Phil Briones on the art. People are worshipping Cyborg. They take him to one of the machine worlds where there's a giant statue of him, and that's the gist of the book. As the rest of the characters just kind of react, and Azrael has a couple of quippy lines.
I'm realizing now I may have fallen asleep during this issue and not finished it, which is not a great sign that I didn't even notice.
No, I am this. This book's a conundrum because it does stuff that I really like, and then it does stuff I just don't care about, and like.
Joe's
I have no idea.
Joe's funny about this is that I was just talking about how Batgirl, the step down in the art, and obviously the last issue was Briones as well, but I'm still missing Sergi. I'm still reading this going, oh man, this would be so much better.
I'm trying to read this now, and I'm like, because from where I was, and I'm just on a panel that's kind of horrible. It's Cyborg saying others. It's about 10 pages in or so, and it's Jessica behind him, and I don't know what's going on with any of her face.
Jessica's face, I know what the panel you're looking at. Even Cyborg's face looks a bit weird in that panel, to be honest.
It does look a bit weird, but hers looks much worse.
No, Jessica's face was bugging me in this issue as well. I think hers, I think his Darkseid looks pretty good. If you got the scene with Darkseid where he meets
Blackfire.
I've actually just got that. I really like the wide shots. That very first panel, the close up on his face, not so keen on.
That's all right, but I mean, hey ho. I think that's and I think it's because he's more like a monstrous presence as opposed to like an actual person. Yeah. So he gets away with doing, some other stuff.
I think Blackfire looks all right.
Yeah, Blackfire looks fine.
Yeah, but it upsets me that now I won't get to see Scissor's Blackfire in this book.
Yeah, that is really frustrating.
That's a crying shame. So basically, because there's been other pretenders that have claimed to be their cyborg god in the past, they force Cyborg to do gladiator combat with Azrael to prove that he's really a god.
Jeez.
So Cyborg, because they're basically pretending that Azrael say, okay, make this look good. And I did laugh out loud actually when he gets him. He's about to blast him with something else, and Azrael's like, "Wait a minute, no, that's not this good." Stuff. Yeah, I thought it was funny, but the issue was okay. Like I didn't love it. I don't have a problem with the direction too much, but I do think it was elevated quite a bit by the Cedric art before.
I do, and I feel like that delay. I feel they changed the story a bit much.
And the fact that
now there's
the fact that Williamson's leaving after like one more issue or whatever it is, just kind of feels like okay, so what's the does it still have its direction? Does it still tend to things that it was the way it was meant to? Instead of feeling like a book that I thought was going to be like one that I'd be excited about every month, it feels like just sort of a middle of the pack kind of.
It's like Odyssey. And I don't feel like there's much of an Odyssey vibe. Like you give it that name and you want like world hopping, and I just feel like these Lost World, they're so far the ones that we've seen are a little bit too similar. Well,
I mean, the Odyssey, it's one of the epic tales of all of fiction.
Right.
I'm not buying that here.
No. So and like the machine worlds and like them at the end, was he the programmer? He's like the leader of the machine worlds. And he's talking about how they've gone out and spread the message. And Cyborg's like, well, what's that message? Oh, that it's better to be a machine. So he's going to turn everybody into a cyborg.
And
that's a great hook.
And they're building a mother box as well. That's the other big thing they're doing.
I've just got to Jean Paul being a dick. Right. Raptor shows up, and he's like, oh, machine's no god. You aren't a princess. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I've taken the name Rapture in your honor. I'm your loyal servant. And he's like, oh, my own worshipper? About time.
Yeah.
But this guy just told his friends that they were pretenders. But you're the real deal.
Yeah. Well, he has a bit of a narcissist. Like, he did try to take over for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, it's, I don't know. The point I was getting to right there before Connor wanted to talk about Jean-Paul.
Sorry, I'm reading through it now.
No, it has a great hook, and I like that, but like, I feel there's way too much backstory that we're not going to get now because it's changing hands. You know, like, unless Abnett is going to work off of some notes or he has a better idea of where it's going, I kind of lost faith in it.
I genuinely wonder if it's going to like clearly change into another book. Like, maybe Abnett finishes off the plot that's been started, but I wonder if after a couple of his issues, if all of a sudden it becomes this completely different concept because it's what Abnett wants to do with it. Because
I
it's his
feel
book.
like right now I'll be surprised if this gets past 12 issues.
Yeah, me too.
I agree. I don't think this is long for this world.
And if it does, it's only because the Justice League name sells enough.
And what really gets me is this was the one I was highest on.
Yeah, me
Because it
too.
was Williamson and Sejic, and it has some of my favorite characters.
But the delays hurt it. It hurt the sales. It hurt everything about it. It's just kind of a shame. And it's a sad thing that it was just like a hiccup that led to the delay, which meant Sejic couldn't stay on the book, and the whole thing's just it's just bad. It sucks.
Yeah.
Oh well. The book's not bad though. I mean, I enjoyed reading it well enough. It just isn't, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't notice that I didn't finish reading it.
Yeah, it feels inconsequential, sadly, but it's not a bad read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lacks kind of what I was talking about Titans and Justice League Dark, where it feels like it's this weird book with a weird lineup, but if it's just niche enough that it feels like it's fun to read, and I feel it's missing that.
My girl Jess needs another book. She needs flagship.
Again,
As
Starfire and Cruz.
Also,
going around the galaxy.
By the way, see if this whole no other Green Lantern book while Morrison's doing Green Lantern stays true. He's talking about he's got plans for a second year of the book, so it might actually end up being like 2 years of Morrison's Green Lantern. And if that's true, I'm going to be pissed that we go that long without focusing on the others.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you give Bendis 2 Superman books and don't give one for me.
You know what, though? I will gladly trade having 2 great Superman books for a Lanterns book. Like, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Or everyone could win. You could have one Superman Bendis book and one by someone else, and you have one Morrison Green Lantern book or one by someone else. Everyone can be happy.
Yeah, but you're also forgetting to factor in Young Justice. And...
Yeah, screw you. I'm going to be so angry next week, I can tell you that now.
Oh, me and Matt are going to be so giddy, and Connor's going to be sitting there just miserable.
I am going to be miserable. So that's going to be like the start of the show as well. I'm going to start the show miserable.
That's the main event next week, yeah. Matt, what are you giving Justice League Odyssey issue for?
Yeah, it's a 7.5. Wasn't big on the story.
Connor, what are you giving it?
5.
I would give it a 6. I will go as harsh as a 5, but it's okay.
It's painfully
We
out.
literally talked about this. I grade higher, Connor grades lower, and Pete's the mid-ground.
The sensible
I grade
one.
fairly.
No, I grade fairly. You grade too low.
Yes.
Yeah. This was not an above-average book. This was, at best, average.
Average is not as readable as this.
Mm-mm.
Of course it is.
No, it's not. Average is more of a chore to sit through. This was not a chore to sit through. It was fine. Okay, moving on. Terrifics number 11. Jeff Lemire writing. Viktor Bogdanovic on the art. And you know, obviously they defeated Java last issue, so this one's kind of all separate. Terrific's investigating. He's investigating where Java's went. He's built an LT sphere. He's trying to track where Java's been traveling in the multiverse.
I love the stakes that Lemire puts in right there. Like if Terrific doesn't get the calculations right on this jump drive, like it could be the end of the multiverse.
Yep.
Like I love that that's just put into a line.
Yeah,
it's really casual.
And Terrific's
don't worry about it.
And Terrific's like, it's good job I don't make mistakes. And I'm like, all right, pat yourself in the back there. So he's doing that, and we see what all the other characters are up to. They're all separate, and which is fine. I think this is the right sort of issue to have after you've just ended kind of your first, like, what was essentially a 10-issue arc of like dealing with Java and all that.
Yeah, it was essentially your first year almost of the book, and then you get little epilogue bits.
Yeah, and this was like each of the other 3 characters, what they're doing. Plastic Man's trying to like reconcile with his ex-wife and see his son, and his son's get plastic powers.
that very first appearance, because you can just see him, he's the hose on the back of the wall, the fire extinguisher, and they just his head just pops out. I was like, oh, that's great.
So that's good. Again, it's they hate him basically. So go away, you're not dad to
it's
me.
It's like, but I was an egg, and they're like, yeah, screw you.
We don't
Likely
care.
Story.
I love how Plaza's like, come on, honey, you knew what you were getting into.
You know, it's funny.
You knew I could be an egg for 5 years.
What's funny is, I've been reading some Mr. and Mrs. X for the other show, and someone was an egg on that as well.
I've not gotten that far.
There's been egg-related people across the publishers recently.
Are they going to be as fun post-egg?
Wait, does it involve the Shi'ar?
Unlikely. It actually does, Matt.
Well, eggs, I see. I know my X-Men lore just enough.
Well, you know Shi'ar more than I do. I didn't know they were associated with eggs.
Yeah, well, they're like a bird-like people.
Okay.
So everything goes around eggs. Like, their holy symbols and stuff tend to be egg.
Look at Matt dropping the knowledge. So that's what Plasma Man's up to. Rex is doing terrible getting a job. He has no provable skills. Everything's I was a superhero. I can fly things. I was
a Tomb Raider,
but no licenses.
Yeah, first he's like, I was an explorer, and they're like, well, actually, you're a little more of a Tomb Raider. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna argue that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
But then he has a fight with the missus because she's like, well, you wanted this. You wanted it to be normal, and then he's kind of like, you know what? I was good being kind of a weirdo though.
The bit in the job office, he's like, maybe I could be a bodyguard or security or something. And the woman's there like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that was a reasonable
Why
suggestion.
Not?
Yeah, that he looks like he's tough enough to do that.
He punches people.
He looks perfect to be a bodyguard or in security. It's like, yeah, throw him in. He'll be fine.
Yeah, last I checked, you didn't need a degree in economics to be a bodyguard, but
right.
But maybe I'm out of the loop on the bodyguard qualifications. Yeah. But so that was basically that. So it was kind of I liked his stuff the most from a character perspective, I think, because it was like him realizing he always complained about wanting to be normal, and he finally got to be normal, and he's like, you know what?
It's kind of boring.
I've been a weirdo for so long. I've been this monstrous superhero for so long that's what I'm good at. That's what I do. That's what I know.
Well, it's kind of the Thing went through the same thing through Fantastic Four stories. But he wanted to be made normal, and then finally he's made normal, and he's like, well, I miss being the Thing. And here we just got a condensed version of that, which was nice. So,
yeah.
And then
Linya
going back to her home planet, and this whole welcome home ceremony isn't what it seems.
Yeah, she's been auctioned off to bachelors, basically, because they want an arranged marriage. And she's like...
So they can have an offspring.
And she's basically, you know what? I think I kind of like being on Earth as a superhero instead.
Yeah.
So, no, I liked all that stuff. This was a good little bit of development for all the characters. I think Rex especially got a lot out of it. And it was like, here's where they all are. And, the cover kind of implies... This is one of these things where I think this cover's probably going to be more suited to the next issue, because Terrific's probably going to get into trouble, and the other three are going to have to choose to come and, help him. But Terrific, so we come back to Terrific at the end, and he tracks down Java, but Java's been going around the multiverse killing other Terrifics from other Earths. And he's on one where it's actually Terrific's wife, who's the Terrific on this world.
Yeah, this is
Earth 23.
Yeah, but
the
Superman from Action Comics, from Morrison's.
Action 9
was a great issue of Action.
Which is nice that it ties into a world that we already know about. That's cool. So Java's like, yes, I've got my new team. I've got the Dreadfuls. So he's got his own evil Plastic Man. He's got Phantom Boy, this little goth-looking asshole. And then like a robot dude who's standing in for Metamorpho. So, which is fun. I like that. I also like that because we know it's Java now, he doesn't have the mask, he just has the hood.
Yeah.
He just...
It's a nice look.
Yeah. No, I like this issue quite a bit. I thought this was a nice breather, but it also set up where we're going next now that we've got an arch nemesis.
I think Bogdanovic, again, I've said before, not my first choice of artist for this book, even though I think he's a good artist.
Yeah.
I think even less so in this issue where it's the downbeat issue. Bogdanovic excels in action.
Yeah, that's fair.
So all the Loki issue, I would have definitely given to someone else personally. It's not bad though. I just think it's not necessarily.
Yeah, no,
the best
I think
fit.
the art's solid. It's just, maybe it wouldn't be your first choice. Because, I mean, we've had Eaglesham, we've had Shaner on this book, and I think they're better suited for this book. But
yeah, someone a bit more poppy, brighter colours, cleaner inks,
But
I
won't say no to Bogdanovic art.
Yeah.
It's still it's objectively good art. It's just maybe not the best fit for the book.
I would happily take his art over someone who I just dislike. Even if their art was technically more suited.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But no, I thought this was a solid issue. As Matt's running off to. Oh, I just shut the door. I thought we were going to deal with some dogs.
Someone else's problem.
Hey.
All right, no, I thought the book was good. I'm actually excited for the next issue. It's interesting because it feels like these last few issues of Lemire's, because we know he wrote up to 14. It seems like these last few issues are going to be about how the team decide to actually stay being a team, even though they're not forced to anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that's the end of Lemire's run. Is the team.
And do they choose to have another writer come in? Because issue 14 in the solicits did not say it was the final issue, so
it did not. But as we mentioned, there was a few things that we know of the final issue that didn't say it in there. I did actually go back and check the previews book, and that did have the final issue tag on Green Arrow in that copy. So it was a mistake in the solicits to not have it.
Right.
We knew that though.
Yeah, but I remember last time.
But it was but he's saying that that's like official.
Yeah.
Like in previews,
I'm sure we knew that last time we talked about it.
I distinctly remember you saying, "Can someone check?"
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was confirmed to me very quickly after the show, but I remember knowing that.
Yeah.
Real quick, not about this last issue stuff, but I just realized that the vampiric plastic man has wings on him, and that's a nice little touch that I didn't realize until just right now.
I just can't wait for Goth Phantom Boy to get his head kicked in by Linya. That's just all I'm excited about.
You really don't like goth kids, do you, Pete?
Not all goth kids, but this guy looks like he listens to My Chemical Romance, and that is worthy of a head kicking.
I don't dispute that. They do not have a good album.
They have a good album.
No, they don't.
Is pretty fun.
No. Matt needs a head kicking.
Bane of My Existence, that stupid band. Alright. Matt, what are you giving this terrific issue?
Oh, this was an 8. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I like the Bogdanovic art. I think a little bit more than you guys, but...
Connor?
Yeah.
6.5. It's alright.
Feels low given what you said, but alright. I will go with... I think I'll go with an 8 as well. I actually, like... I almost forgot how much I liked this book, and then this issue came around and said, hey, here's why you like it. You like these characters, and it focused on that. So I'll go with an 8 as well. Which will take us out to Titans number 32, Dan Abnett writing, Clayton Henry doing the art on this. And this was
the origin of Mother Blood.
Yeah, this was technically still double shipping because this is the December 2nd issue. Although we're back to single, I believe, in January. Yeah. If not January, then definitely February, we're back to single. And I'm glad this was a double ship month issue because obviously it was a complete tangent from the not so much the main plot, but like from the main characters, because it was just Mother Blood explaining how she came to be. She was this immigrant that was kidnapped off the street because she was on the run, and Blood was indoctrinating like people like her, but she ultimately connected to the Reds and whatnot.
Through science, found faith.
Yes,
is what I liked was the opposing viewpoints, and that she kind of figured out that the current Brother Blood is he's kind of a scam. Like he was kind of on the right track, but it was all about him, and it wasn't about the actual larger purpose, where they were an actual cult of blood, not the church. And through her leadership, they've become a church.
The first thing he says, actually, when he's talking to them and they're all in their robes, is like, "This is not a cult." And I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, sure." That's exactly.
That's what all cults say.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. And then we see that she, through her newfound powers, because we find out that it was the totality coming to Earth that basically upcharged her powers.
It ties into what Justice League's doing, which is cool. Right. Is it totality is what gave her abilities.
Right, and because of this, she's able to reach into the Red, and we see that she's manipulating that message that we got in the last issue through Beast Boy.
It's not the Red, it's her. Yeah.
Yeah. And that through in order to make all these prophecies from the Church of Blood happen, they need a sacrifice, and they need it in a place where it's going to create the most energy.
Yeah, so
and that's going to be on Earth because it was created via the totality.
Well, no, specifically on the unseen. Right. Because they're luring them into the unseen. That's what the whole message from the Red is doing. So, I mean, that's basically it. There's not a whole lot to talk about. The art's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just okay.
But again, this is like one of those, I brought it up. It's a niche book that I feel like more people need to read. And the fact that they're not, it makes it feel like it's a hidden gem. Because I'm really enjoying this.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I like this issue as much as, say, the last couple. But, yeah, I thought it was a fine time out to just explain who Mother Blood is, what the extent of her power is, that kind of stuff, and sort of set up the villain a bit more.
Seeing how well that Abnett is kind of tied in to different aspects of Snyder's like New Justice stuff, it makes me a little bit more confident now about Odyssey. You know, that him maybe he understands that a little more than Williamson, and Williamson helped plot it. He's too close to it because here using the totality and all of that to propel the Titan story further.
Actually, I'll be honest,
really cool.
With Williamson potentially just off Odyssey now in general, I wonder if it's just purely because something else got greenlit that they want him on instead, which is possible. So, but no, this issue was a decent little villain focused issue, but nothing super special. What are you rating them at?
A 7.5.
I will give it a 7. Which will take us on to the final book of the week, and that is The Silencer, issue 12. Dan Abnett, yet again, writing with Jack Herbert on the art. So, Matt, you caught up with this, didn't you?
Yep.
You caught up, so all three of us are going to talk about this.
This is weird.
This is weird, yeah. We're so used to this just being me and Connor. So, last issue, I think we praised it heavily for continuously getting better, and it felt like it was the most dramatically like succinct point that it had made up until that point was, you know, Honor standing defiant at the end of the issue in face of Talia. I think the trend continues because I think this issue, obviously we know Talia from other books in the DC universe and reputation. I think this issue specifically makes Talia a worthwhile nemesis in this specific book.
I think more importantly than that is it makes Honor seem more important. Because we already know Talia, we're familiar with her, we know what a threat she can be, and having her be afraid of Honor.
Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah. I think this does like multiple things that's really smart. I think the first half of the book, where Honor does, you know, stays defiant, and she has that big action scene where she basically starts John Wicking around the room and taking out Leviathan as much best she can.
I love the art touch continued. You know, the end of the last issue we talked about the spotlighting effect. It followed on here, and it's like the first page with them. It's that double page spread. And it's just done in the colouring where they're not quite as flat as everyone else. Yeah. Just the two of them, and everyone else is flattened into the background a touch more, so they pop out. It's a great little effect. Yeah,
and that face, I mean, she ultimately loses because it is like a room full of supervillains, so she's not going to win necessarily, but she gets far enough until she's almost stabbed, and Talia stops it. But I think what I love most about that 2-page layout is that final panel, because Talia's like, your final chance are to bow down before me and swear your allegiance, and she's just like, no. And it's just this moment, it's like, yeah, F yeah, you're rooting for Honor to kick her ass.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that once Talia flips the tables and then she reveals, hey, I'll make you an offer, you swear your loyalty to me, because you can't get out of this, but if you swear your loyalty, I'll make sure your family's safe. And then she reveals that she's got someone there, the person that her husband's talking to at the embassy is one of hers, and she'll either save them or kill them. And it's like, for as strong as the first half of this book made Honor look, as strong as Talia saying she'd be scared of Honor if she wronged her, you know, because the idea that this deal will work, because if she does do something to her family, she'll be terrified of Honor forever. She will never be able to like get away from that.
I mean, she called Honor's bluff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, she's gonna have to deal with Honor being that snake, right?
Yeah.
Constantly ready to strike.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the idea that she would, like, it sells Honor. It sells Honor a lot because she would be worried about this if she did betray Honor. But at the same time, her putting her in this place where she has to make this choice to swear allegiance again for the safety of her family, then shows how strong Talia is. It shows how smart Talia is. It shows how much power she still has. So it equally puts her hero on this pedestal, but at the same time puts her villain one more up and says, no, the villain's... And which is what you want. You want the villain to feel worse and feel stronger until the hero eventually wins.
Yeah.
You know, you want your hero to feel like they're up against the odds. And I think this issue does that pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. And then it kicks her out a window.
And then she stabs her and kicks her.
Stabs her in the chest.
Yeah.
And then kicks her out the window.
Because she killed her back in issue 6, and she's like, yeah. And I assume she'll throw in a Lazarus pit and be like, okay, now I've killed you and you've came back. So
yeah, we're even.
Yeah, we're even.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I will say that
I laughed
upon catching up. What? Go ahead.
The editor's note just said, no, if you haven't read Silencer issue 6 yet, it was awesome. I'm like, yeah, it was.
It was good, but I feel like the book has gotten. I feel like the last 2 or 3 issues of the book are the best it's been.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, I agree with that, because catching up, it was there was a slog to get through the first section, but it wasn't. It felt very 90s, and then as it settled into this back half, it just feels like its own thing now. But no, I will say that low key, my favorite character is the head of Quietus, just because it's such an odd.
Yeah, he's great.
Character piece,
and he's sticking around because Talia saves his head and is like, you've always been the most loyal.
The art's great again this issue, with the exception of some serious boob sockage going on, especially on Talia.
I love how
that's become a thing.
I know.
No, but I noticed it before because I read this before I read Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, just funny. I agree with this because I noticed it in Talia and then thought it's weird how it's on Talia, but Honor doesn't have this problem. And I guess that it's the artist's way of distinguishing that Honor's wearing armor and Talia's wearing more of a...
It's weird, though, that Talia is clearly wearing this very free-flowing robe.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the one that sticks tight.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not so much that I didn't notice this before, but I feel like after this week it's something we're going to point out a lot more. It'd be like, no, we're going to criticize this.
I did find it particularly egregious here, though.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. The action looks good though. Everything with because one of the things that happens at the embassy is that Honor's husband kind of realizes he doesn't really know a lot about her. He doesn't know what her parents were or where she went to school or like any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Matt, your mic's going, I think.
I loved some touch in the art. I realized is the panel where Talia kicks her out the window and it's just the silhouette.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great panel.
No. I can't believe how much I like this book. If you went back to like when they announced all these,
this was because I remember because this one obviously at the start had Romita Jr. on art, and this was probably the one you were least excited for because of that.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a brain.
I'm not saying he should have been excited based on Romita Jr.
It is funny. It is much as I think at that point we're already enjoying Aquaman. But I don't think Abnett was excited. Whereas, I think this is, between this and, I mean, I'm enjoying Titans, but I think this is better than Titans. This is a better book. So, I don't know. Credit where credit's due.
It's weird though that Abnett still doesn't excite me as a name, even though
I know.
I'm really enjoying this book.
And you enjoyed a lot of Aquaman as well.
Yeah, but you tell me Abnett's taking over Justice League Odyssey, I go,
There's hope there, though. There's hope that he'll pull another one of these out.
This is the thing. Abnett can be good. Very clearly, he can be very good, but just something about his name just doesn't excite me when he's announced on a book.
Yeah. What's Matt staring at intently? It's like he's.
I'm looking over for covers. I'm going through the covers.
He's prepping for the next section. Matt, come on, keep your head in the game.
That's a good idea. Why haven't I done that?
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, if we wrap it up with Silencer then, which was a very good issue. Matt, what do you give it up?
So I'm gonna give it an 8. It's the art's there, the story's there. So
okay, Connor.
Yeah, I agree with an 8 actually.
I'm gonna go with 8.5. I'm gonna go one step higher and go with 8.5. I really liked it. So that takes us on to the final section of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week. We do our best panel/moment, best art, best cover, and our top 5 books of the week. So starting off with best panel/moment, Matt, what are you picking?
Yeah, so mine's from Heroes in Crisis, and it's the first one that came to mind. It's Flash and Batman saying that they know who did
Okay,
this.
that's fair.
That entire page, and then just the shit.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
we know
that was
nothing.
good. That was good. I'm tempted to go for the Hey the Dinosaur because that did make me laugh.
Yeah.
That was just car didn't like it. But I think I'm torn between Superman holding out his hand and saying,
Yep.
you know,
That's a good one
you
too.
can do better, or actually Silencer, Honor just saying no. And I feel like since Silencer doesn't typically win as much, I'm going to go with Silencer. I'm going to say her defiantly saying no before she goes into a John Wick, you know, I'm going to take out every asshole in this room. I'm giving it to that moment. Connor, what's yours?
Mine will be the best page from Heroes in Crisis, but I will narrow it down to the specific moment. It's the you know, bros before heroes with the fist bump.
It's pretty good.
Do you know, I'm going to be honest, that line fell a little flat for me.
But see, I feel like that is the blue and gold
I know. I just
relationship in a nutshell.
Pete knows that I've been reading through the older, you know, Justice League International stuff,
So,
and you know, where there's a lot of them, you know, starting up that friendship.
Yep.
In that book, and I'm really getting into them like that. So I very much.
And that's on point for them because it's super cheesy, but it's something they would yell.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So best cover of the week then, Matt.
So this is what I was doing all squinty eyes because I was looking through Diamond and hovering over them, and it's kind of a tough choice this week because there's nothing that really stuck out to me.
Really, there's three that stand out to me in particular, and I thought you were going to grab one of them.
Well, and I like so there's three that I had narrowed down to, two of which are the Action Comics covers. So those are both pretty decent, right? But the other one I think that really did do it for me is the regular Wonder Woman cover. I think it's a Dodson's, but just with how light it is with the white and how they're positioned, it just feels like a painting. So I think I'm gonna go with Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Connor, you go first. What do we got?
I mean, so I'll do the honorable mentions first. So it was the Batgirl variant.
Yeah, that's an obvious one. Yeah.
And the Wonder Woman variant.
Yeah,
that gorgeous red one. It's fantastic.
I'm not a fan of the red though. It's a little bit too much.
I get it. Ultimately, though, I am coming down with the Dodsons, but not on Wonder Woman.
Oh.
I'm giving it to the Justice League Odyssey variant with Starfire.
Starfire, yeah. That's okay. I like the composition of the Wonder Woman a little bit more.
Get that, but...
I want to give a shout out to the Brooks variant for Detective. I think it's a nice. The
blue one with all the villains.
All the villains.
Yeah, it's all right.
Action's pretty good. I think I have to be boring and go with the Batgirl variant from Middleton, who's been knocking out the park.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily my favourite of the Batgirl variants. My favourite one's still sitting in the clock tower at the laptop. That's still my phone background. It's not changing until he tops it. But I will say, notice a very good method here for no boob socks. That armour looks nicely fitting on her in an appropriate way.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. But yeah, Batgirl variant. So best art of the week then is next up. Matt, what you got?
I'm going with Action Comics. Ryan Sook. Like, as good as Mann is, we nitpicked it, but Sook it's just there.
Yeah. Connor.
Yeah, this is tough actually. I am gonna go with Silencer.
Okay.
I think the art in that was pretty good. Yeah, not a standout art week for me though. I have to be honest.
I'm tempted to be controversial and go with Wonder Woman to piss off Connor, but
you should. You definitely should. I thought about it
because he picked Nord a couple of times. If Matt had picked it, that would be controversial.
I'm actually going to go with Sook for Action. It was probably the art out of the week that spoke to me the most. But there was a few good art.
I haven't seen it, but Sook is typically pretty good, so I can't really fault it.
Yeah, so that's Sook. So top 5 books of the week. Matt.
1, Action. 2, Wonder Woman. 3, I'm trying to remember what I give scores to. I think 3 would be... This is tough, guys. I'm thumbing through them.
Oh dear.
Man, I guess 3 would be Heroes in Crisis, and then 4 is Flash, and 5 is Titan. No, 4 is Titans, and 5 is Flash. That was tough.
All
I need to
right.
start writing this stuff down.
Yeah, Carter, what's your top 5?
So I think top go with Silencer, and then Batgirl at 2, Flash at 3, Wonder Woman at 4, Detective at 5.
Wow. All right.
I literally just waved you off. I went like this.
She brought you a drink. I mean, you can't be that
Yeah,
mad.
she brought me tea, but she's supposed to let me know.
All right. My top 5. Number 1 is action. Number 2 is Wonder Woman. Number 3 is Silencer. Number 4 is Terrifics. Number 5 is Detective. There you go. That's my top 5. I had a solid week of books this week. Honestly, I mean, looking at the list, Odyssey was probably the weakest link.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how it goes. So that was this week's books. Well, I started a new thing this week actually. On the Twitters, I'll do this a bit earlier next week. On maybe on the night before. But I asked our audience on Twitter to say what their favourite book of the week was. Next week I'll also ask for a why, and if there's any good, like, you know, just in the tweets, if there's any good little blurbs from you guys, I'll say a couple of them out. But just in terms of what was the prevailing winner this week, it was actually a dead heat between action and detective. And I think detective narrowed it out by about one tweet. But those were the two that were largely said. Although credit to Astrion for being the lone person to say Heroes in Crisis, but everyone else was action or detective. That's what it was across the board. So that's what people are liking. Like I say, I'll do this every week now, and I'll encourage you. You don't have to give a why, but if you give a why, I might read out your tweet at this point in the show. Going forward, but yeah, so that was the crowd favourite, as it were. Coming next week, we do have the main event of Young Justice issue 1.
Yeah, look at all those variants too. We got
I'm not gonna lie, that is too many variants.
That one,
I disagree because they all look great.
No, they do, but I don't like having that many variants.
That one with Cassie's is glorious. I think that's the what do we call him? Shaner cover.
Yeah, I think that's Shaner cover, but Superboy is the Jimenez meme cover.
The meme cover's funny. I like the Cassie one more, but yeah.
I really like the Amethyst cover.
There's an Amethyst cover that looks cool. The
regular one looks
Impulse
good
one.
too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, so we got Young Justice issue 1. We have Justice League 15. Snyder was hyping up the next few issues of Justice League. He was saying that the next phase of the book starts like 18 or 19 or something like
that. There's a page he shared out that had Mira and Starman teaming up.
Yeah, I think he said these next couple of issues are leading into the annual, and the annual sets up Act 2 of the book.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got Batman 62. We got
which is worth noting. That's Gerard is on art. Joined him on the book again. So
exciting.
And it's Professor Pig, Pete. So.
Oh yes, I like Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Gerard was tweeting saying he did some really inventive stuff with the coloring for this issue that he's never tried before, and he was really worried it was going to look really badly when it came out printed. But apparently he's seen it today, and he's happy with it.
Okay.
We have the Green Lantern issue 3. We have Green Arrow 48. We have Adventures of the Super Sons number 6, and we have Martian Manhunter number 2. As the books we'll be covering. Also out next week that we'll not be covering is Deathstroke 39, Batman Kings of Fear 6, Curse of Brimstone 10, Harley Quinn 57, Nightwing 56, lol, Suicide Squad Black Files issue 3, and The Unexpected issue 8. So a bit of a
How is
week.
The Unexpected at 8?
It's unexpected, would you say?
Oh, I would say.
I thought you were correcting me saying that it was already cancelled, but I think we're thinking of something else.
Although I'm just assuming it should have been cancelled at 6 was my assumption.
Unexpected is already cancelled. It's already had its final issue solicited, but I think it has.
And Green Arrow is going to be a weird one next week because it's the start of the last couple of fill-ins before the book ends.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing. Obviously, I mean, we'll read the last 3 no matter what because it's the last 3, but it's a weird situation to be in.
Got Vertigo. That should be fun.
So we'll see how it goes, but that's the books next week. Yeah, so there it goes. Anything else to tell you about? I mean, obviously we mentioned at the start about the new podcast me and Connor are doing where we talk about Marvel books and indie books, which we record on a Tuesday night, goes up early Wednesday, so it's always a week behind with the books that are coming out, but we don't have time to do it any earlier than that because we have to do a DC podcast first. So check that out elsewhere on the Multiverse. The podcast feed is up on your iTunes, your podcast apps. You can get it on YouTube obviously as well. Yeah, have a look. Also, television for the Multiverse, me and Connor do, which is talking about DC TV shows. Obviously, it's the off season right now, so we're doing some classic shows. And obviously, Young Justice has started up this week. So the next episode coming on Friday next week will be the first 3 episodes of Young Justice season 3 with some archive episodes of other things.
I am very excited.
Yes, I've heard good buzz. There's been good buzz about this, about the internet.
Oh, that is just what I needed to get me even more excited.
Yes. Good buzz. So look for that. Obviously, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can support us over there for as little as $1 per month, and you get some bonuses and some such. But you can support us in other ways, such as liking, subscribing, commenting, blah, 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 blah. Of course, you can get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. Matt, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Man of Steel 57.
Connor, where can they find you?
At Connor Ryan 94.
You knew it was coming. I asked Matt, and yet you still had this moment of hesitation.
That was not a moment of hesitation. That was a brief delay in when you said it and I answered it.
No. The delay was in your own voice. It was when you went, I got Connor Ryan.
I did not do any
you drew out the but there was a draw out of that first syllable. So you could think about it.
It was just a natural speech pattern that you insist was hesitation.
It wasn't not natural about you in general. So, wished. But that is.
that was just mean.
You can find me on Twitter at Wibble89. Also, if you want to hang out with me live, you can do that now every week on MailFuzz TV Live on the YouTubes.
God help you.
The earlier version of that's on Mondays at 8 UK, 3 Eastern, 1 Pacific. There's a late version which will vary between Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but this coming week it's going to be Tuesday, which will be at 11 Eastern and 8 Pacific. So obviously PM for those. So if you want to join for that, you can talk about comic books, you can talk about movies, talk about TV shows, talk about whatever. But that's what we do. So I think that's everything. I think that's everything to plug. Outside of the fact, just come back next week for 137 because I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be
I'm already prepared to be annoyed that you didn't title this episode Pros Before Heroes.
Oh, it's not happening because I didn't like that joke was that funny. I think Hide the Dinosaur is way funnier. So.
It's not about being funny, it's about being better.
May not be what I picked, admittedly. I might think of something else, but...
I'm looking forward to next week, Connor being annoyed that we're reading Young Justice, and it's great.
I hope you both hate it.
We're not going to hate it.
No. Connor Kent's back.
I hope you do anyway.
Bart Allen's back. Tim Drake's back.
Screw you.
Cassie Sandsmark's back.
Even the new characters look promising. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what it
Teen
is.
Lantern.
Yeah. Worth mentioning, the next Wonder Comics book is out at the end of the month. That's Naomi. And then Wonder Twins comes out in February. And then the first of Dial H for Hero, which is a mini, comes out in March. So
I can read those too.
Yeah, that's the slate for the rest of them. So that has been episode 136 of Comics from the Multiverse. Of course, let us know what you thought of the books in the comments, blah, blah, blah. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Pros Before Heroes.